Hi y'all, good morning. The sun is coming up out here on the Tennessee River. We got a beautiful sunrise over there, and hopefully we're gonna have another beautiful sight when we start reeling in some fish today. Blues, flatheads, both are possible, and we could be getting some big ones today too. It's that time of year, folks. It's post-spawn. These fish are on the feed, and it's time, buddy. We're gonna get after them right now. So I'm gonna put y'all on the chest here while we get baited up. And me and you gonna reel in some fish today. So let me show you my rig here first. This is my dragging setup. I've got my Signature Series Golly Whopper rods, of course. We've got my main line, 40-pound line down to a 3-way swivel. This is a dragging sinker that I make, and there's a link down in the video description if you want to learn how to make them. Off of that other end of the 3-way goes a section of 80-pound monofilament line that's, I don't know, 3-4 foot long, give or take. Not an exact science, but it goes down to a float and rattle, down to a 10-aught size circle hook that's caught in my fly currently, bear with me. But 10-aught size circle hook, and then off the tag end of the circle hook, we've got a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly. And so what I'm gonna do is put on a piece of cut bait to this rig, and this one here we'll put on a white bass head. We're going to do a white bass head and a skipjack head to start with on our dragging rigs, and then I'm also going to put out a third rod suspending a bait, and we'll put a chunk on it. So I'm going to put that in the water there. We'll start letting out some line as we move along and get our other baits on the hooks here. This rig here, exact same setup as the other one. However, it does not have a fly off the tag end on this. I gotta tie me up some more rigs with the flies. I am currently out and have been lazy and not been retying. So anyway, skipjack head going out on this rod. We'll start letting out some line on it. And now let's get our suspend fishing rig. And I'm gonna run our dragging rods off the front of the kayak. And I'm gonna put our suspend rig off the back. Lately, the suspend fishing bite hasn't been very good. I've been getting my fish, and I've been getting quite a few of them lately, dragging. That seems to be what the fish have preferred. So we're going to certainly drag a couple. That's going to be our primary goal today, is work our way up a main channel river ledge here on the Tennessee River. But I thought it wouldn't hurt today. Just throw out a suspended bait here, and we'll just put it here behind us. And this here, if you're new to my channel, this is a Carolina rig. We got an 8-ounce egg sinker, regular swivel, down to a 10-aught size circle hook, and then again we've got a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly that's in the goldfish pattern. And I'm just gonna lower this straight down to the bottom and let it hit. Right now we're 53 feet deep here where we're at. Depth is gonna fluctuate. So this suspend fishing rig, we will raise and lower as need be to keep it 2 to 3 feet off the bottom, maybe up 4 foot-ish or so off the bottom. We'll run it probably a little higher today just because I don't want to have to tinker with it all the time. And I think most of our fish are going to come on the dragging rigs. If it's anything today like it has been on recent trips, the dragging is what's going to get it done for us. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that bell over, and we'll go ahead and flip this one too. That way they'll be kind of running at different distances behind us. But what we're going to do, folks, me and you this morning, we're heading right up the river here. I'm kind of going up the center of the channel, and we don't have any flow out here today. So it is flat water. It's lake-like conditions. The Tennessee River is a series of reservoirs. And if TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, they operate the hydroelectric dams. If they're not generating any current, then you don't have any flow on the river. A river that doesn't flow, imagine that. But that's kind of how it is. The Tennessee River, it can fish like a lake or a river depending on if you have flow or not. And this morning out here we have 0 flow, and probably not going to have any at any point this morning. It's going to be a miserable hot day. It's going to be in the 90s again. Very few clouds here this morning, so it's going to get hot quick. So this is probably going to be another 3, 4, 5 hour trip for me, as are most of my fishing trips. So I'm gonna leave the camera going raw and uncut, unedited. Y'all my fishing partners from right now, when we're dropping baits down till I roll out of here or the battery dies, whichever happens first today. But we're gonna hopefully catch some fish up and down this ledge. Post spawn bite, when these fish come off the nest, they've been up, you know, they've been up in the shallows in June, July there. Seemed like the spawn lasted a little longer this year. This post-spawn bite's kind of just getting started here in August, at least for me anyway. And normally it starts about mid-July usually. This year it took till August to get it going, at least in the areas where I normally expect to be getting them in July. But it's on now, and so when them fish, when they come out of the shallows from nesting, they're hungry. They've lost a lot of weight. A lot of the fish you're getting are real skinny. They're beat up, they're marked up from protecting their nest, and they're ready to eat. But they come out of the shallows, they retreat out to these main channel river ledges. And you fish these areas, you can catch a lot of fish and you can get some big fish too. So I'm gonna put y'all in the chest today as we make our way along. I'm gonna increase our speed here. I tried to get our motor set up here before I turn the camera on, that way I could have it going forward and as we were getting baited up. But we're going to put our speed about 1/2 mile an hour and just cover some water this morning. The speed in the summertime, I mean, our water temp's 80 degrees, 79 right there looks like, but it's been running low 80s surface temps. We've had some rain that may have cooled it down a little bit, but you know, this time of year you can run a little quicker if you want, but with us running a suspended bait off the back, I want to keep it about 1/2 mile an hour so that line stays vertical. Like right there, for instance, that's a pretty big fish right there moving along. I've got that live scope facing forward. I'm only running it. Let me tinker with that screen a minute there. I'd been looking at a brush pile last time I used it and put it about 40 feet in front of us there. But yeah, folks, we're going to cover some water on this ledge, you know, 1/2 mile an hour. Let's say we fish 4 hours today to keep the math simple. That's 2 miles. 2 miles of this ledge that we can potentially cover. And, you know, these fish, we may find them stacked up through here. There's a hole up here that I've caught fish in before, and we may get some there, but ultimately these fish could be up and down through here anywhere. They're just kind of roaming around. You'll see some bait right here. I don't know if you can see it that well or not, but there is some bait up here, kind of higher up in the water column. So fish are just worming around. They're actively feeding. They're trying to get their weight back on, and we're offering them an easy meal here with these pieces of cut bait. Now, speaking of bait, y'all, unless y'all brought some bait with you, I don't think you did, because you never do. Y'all leave it up to me every time we go fishing together on these videos. I'm the one that's got to supply our bait. I ain't got very much today. I went out yesterday, tried to catch us some, and struggled. Hardcore struggled, folks. I got us 1 skipjack, and I think 3 white bass or 4 white bass. Either way, bait is limited today. So when we catch fish, we're going to need to try to recycle those baits. And if we get on a good bite, and I have been lately, I've been fishing a different stretch of the river, but I've been getting a bunch of fish. And so if we get on a bite like that today, we may burn through our bait fairly quickly with as little as we got. I just couldn't. Yesterday was just a tough day for the bait. I wasn't seeing anything busting, and it was just, you catch one here, go 30 minutes, you get one here, like it was tough. So thankful for every bait that we've got. What we do have is good and fresh. We just don't have a great deal of it. So going to need to be conservative today, try to reuse baits. Usually what happens when you've got a day where you don't have much bait, it seems like every fish you catch, they throw the bait off the hook. That's Murphy's Law. I don't know how the hell Murphy got a law named after him, but He did, and I don't particularly like that guy because it works against us. I'm gonna take a look at this rod right here. Yeah, I was making sure it was on bottom there. The rod tip's barely moving. It must be real smooth through here. It must be muddy bottom, not a rocky area, or else you'd see your rod tips kind of catching a little bit. Not really seeing that right now, but nevertheless, folks, y'all my fishing buddies today. So come with me. We're gonna try to catch some fish, beat the heat, and go home to the air conditioner this afternoon while Mother Nature bakes planet Earth here. I tell you, man, when it gets this hot, and it ain't just the fact it's 90 degrees. You know, I have people all the time say, well, I live in Arizona and it's 156 degrees out here today. Well, I'm sure the hell it is, but it's in the desert and y'all don't have the humidity out there. Now, hot is hot. Once you reach a certain point, hot is hot. I've been to Las Vegas, which is a desert, and you know, you go out there to Vegas and the sun is beating down on that concrete and the asphalt, and of course it makes it feel hotter than it even is, and it may be a dry heat, but it's still hot. But here in the south, in the southeast, you get the hot and you get the humidity. It's like a sauna. So we're gonna fish early today. We should have really been out here about 30 minutes ago, but I couldn't get y'all out of bed and get you out here, so. Plus we had to make a long run to get down here from where I launched at. I come downriver to start with, and I'm gonna work my way back up toward the car today. That's gonna be the plan. So when I finish up a couple miles from here, I'll be fairly close to the car. And I did want to move upriver today, just in case TVA was to cut on some generators this morning. We're far enough away from the dam that it would take the water a while to get to us. But if it was toward the end of our trip today and we did have some flow, I would rather be going into that flow dragging than having it push us along and us having to adjust our speed to compensate for the current. So just works out better to make the run downriver first thing. But we're gonna catch some fish today. Hopefully get us a flathead, maybe, we'll see. I'll tell you some stories, because, well, that's what we do on these unedited, raw and uncut videos. I'll tell you some real life stories. I've got a few. Things be happening, as always. Life never stops, even if the fish biting does. And we'll have us a good old time out here today. But it's gonna be a lot better time if we can get us a flathead. I did get one the other day, first one in a while, and surprisingly got it on the dragging rig. I rarely catch fish or catch flatheads, catch blues dragging all the time. But flatheads, it's kind of a rare thing. And ironically, that day that I got the flathead dragging, I had 2 suspended lines out. I was suspending 2 off the front and dragging my baits off the back. And so we probably went right over the top of that flathead with the suspended bait, and it didn't get touched. And then 50 yards later, when our dragging rigs get up there, flathead bites it. So I don't care what they bite. Right here though, right here, this one's biting and he's pulling, buddy. Oh, buddy, he's pulling. How about that takedown for fish number 1? Get your sunglasses on, you're looking right into the sun. That was a pretty nice takedown. This was the white bass head with the fly rig. Where are we at on this? A few minutes into the trip, man. We ain't been pulling along very long here, man. That's awesome. That's very encouraging. I've not fished this stretch of the river in probably a year or more. I can't remember the last time I was out here, honestly, so I think it's probably been a year or more. But I hit another stretch of a ledge there, recently, and we done well. And I thought, well, this bite's probably going on all up and down the river right now, because when you get on a bite like this, it's a pattern. It's not just one spot, one magic location. It's going on all over. And so we're going to try this stretch of a ledge today. And I think we're going to have a pretty good fish here to start. It was definitely a good takedown. Feels like a blue. I feel him kind of rolling down there now, so. Nice, buddy. Nice. A few minutes in, already hooked up. Y'all good luck today. You got your lucky rabbit's foot. You got it in your pocket today. I know you did. I don't know how a lucky rabbit's foot is considered lucky, because the rabbit lost his foot, and that don't seem like the rabbit had good luck. But I guess if you spray paint them things purple or blue and put it on a keychain, it makes it lucky. Good fish, really good fish. He's skinny, but it's a good one. And hopefully he's gonna leave that bait on, because we need it. I hope it's on, and I hope it's in good condition. Yeah, it's still on. That is a good one right there, folks. What'd y'all do with my glove? Okay, there it is. Let me get the glove on. I know y'all ain't gonna land this fish for me. I can't get you to do a damn thing. Hell, I told you need to get your sunglasses on, because you're staring into the sun. I bet you won't even do that. You won't even do it for yourself, let alone me. Making me catch all the bait for us to come out here and fish together. Y'all about ridiculous, honestly. I still bring yous with me every time I come out here. We just a glutton for punishment together, I reckon. This is a nice fish right here, folks. This is a nice one. Don't throw that bait on. Don't throw it off, buddy. Come here. I don't want to rush the process of landing a big fish like this in the kayak, because you don't want to bring a fish that's real green into the kayak, but at the same time, I don't want to lose that bait either. Here, y'all set up here, would you? If I don't set you up here in the front seat, he's going to get us both sopping wet. He starts thrashing around like this. Got him. Got him. Whoa, buddy, that's a good one. It's actually not as skinny as I thought. Here, let me get you turned around so you can look at this thing. Take a picture of it with me, would you? I got something crawling on me first. Hang on. Oh, a spider or bug or something. Y'all get the fly swat out. Don't whack me with it too hard. Where's my pliers? He wasn't coming free, that's for sure. Before I hold him up, let's try to work efficiently and get this bait going back out. He has tore the mouth of that thing up. The meat of the bait's in good condition, but the face of it leaves a lot to be desired. But we're gonna throw it back out and get it back down in the water here before we hold him up, just to try to be as efficient as possible. Okay, down it goes. White bass, getting it done for fish number one, buddy. Let me hold this thing up here for you. Look at what y'all just caught, man. It's a good fish for number one. All right, if this is how it's going to be today, we're in for a good time, folks. That was an awesome takedown. That's a good fish. This one's got I actually think this is a female. If you look at that mouth right there, it's a smaller mouth. The female blues have smaller mouths than the males do. I think it's a female. So females go drop their eggs on the nest and then they're gone. It's the males that stay behind. So that's probably why this one's a little thicker than some of the male fish we're getting lately. All right, Blue Kitty, you've had your moment of fame here. Let's get out of here. Nice, buddy. Anytime you can start your day with a fish like that, we're in for a good time. We're in for a good time. I may be jinxing. There's some days you catch a fish like that and you don't get nothing else, but I can feel it in my loins, man. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. We're having a good day today. It's just that time of year. It's just how it is. It's how it is in that post-spawn. I was questioning myself when it didn't start when it should have started. Like I thought, man, something's off this year. Something's different. It's weird. But it's 2 or 3 weeks behind for whatever reason. I don't know, weather, water conditions, whatever. Maybe the bulk of the fish just kind of went on the nest a little later. Don't know. But we got it going on now. I'm gonna let out just a little bit more line on this one too. I'm gonna just run it behind us a little bit further. I'll feel better about it. Let me fix our suspend rig back here too. I'm gonna drop it down just a little deeper. Y'all have to keep an eye on this rod behind us, huh? The way I've got it angled here, let's flip this one over. Oh, I just flipped that dang bell over and he's on it, buddy. Oh, he dropped it. Something was after it. As soon as I flipped the dang bell over. All right. I was trying to show you here my suspend rig. I've got it going directly off the back of the kayak because I don't want it getting over here and interfering in these lines. And I want y'all to be able to see these takedowns by having these dragging rods up front, because I think that's where we're going to get bit at today. But anyway, when we get bit back here, oftentimes in kayak, you don't have to see a bite to feel it, because you're in such a small vessel, you'll feel the kayak kind of going over. But here, it ain't necessarily going to take the kayak over because it's going directly off the back. So anyway, we'll probably hear the drag stripping, but y'all may need to keep an eye on that. Y'all just look over my shoulder from time to time and holler if that rod goes down. I'll reel it in for you. I'll tell you what I'm about to do though. Let me get in my purse here. This is my camera bag that keep all my accessories. I'm about to put a buff on because that sun is already getting hot on my flesh. I can feel it first thing. So I'm gonna put my buff on. I'm gonna get us sunglasses on here. I don't know if y'all put your sunglasses on or not, but I'm going to. All that squinting is causing me to get some lines under my eyes, folks. And I don't want to look like these women. You know how these women are. And I know, you know how I know I've got lines under my eyes? Because my girlfriend tells me all the time. My girlfriend, she gets Botox occasionally. And you got these women nowadays going in and getting their faces done. Used to, when I was growing up, you'd hear these movie stars and stuff getting facelifts. Well, now it's Botox. They take the lines out their eyes and foreheads and stuff. And so I'm like, well, it seems to me like prevention is better than the cure. So just wear sunglasses so you don't have to squint, and wear a buff so your face don't get all damaged by the sun, and then you don't have to have all that Botox and stuff. My girlfriend, she tells me I need it. But it's hard to trust a woman on this cosmetic stuff because they've gotten crazy with it, man. This was a story I was going to tell on the last trip, I think it was, and I just ran out of time, and I thought, I'm going to go in depth on this, so I'd save it. But I'm glad I remembered it here. I'm pretty sure that rod over there got a little tap. You fellas right now that are maybe watching this video with your girlfriends or wives, you best send her out the room, because I'm going to piss some women off when I talk about this stuff. Because they've lost their damn minds with all this Botox stuff. And I ain't saying that, maybe if my face gets to looking like a catcher's mitt, well, maybe I will consider such a thing. But these women today, a lot of them, most of them, you know, like my girlfriend, for instance, she don't need no damn Botox, but she's doing it because her friends are doing it. It's the cool thing to do. And some of these women are taking it. Have you seen some of these women and what they're doing? There's this rod over here, they're chewing up that head bait. If you ain't gonna eat it, leave it alone, fish. We ain't got but one skipjack head, and I want it perfect as can be when we come across Big Mama. But here's what they're doing now, folks. In addition to the Botox they're putting in their face. And what this Botox, apparently, here's what Botox does. I've been educated on this. They inject Botox into your face, which paralyzes the muscle. The muscle, okay, he got it. He listened to me. I told him, leave it. Oh, he's pulling. He's pulling. He's pulling good, buddy. Goodness gracious. This might be another good one right here. Pause the story, folks. We got fish to reel in. I told that fish, I said, leave it the hell alone. If you ain't gonna eat it, don't be nipping on it, because you'll just chew it up and it won't be in good shape when we come across a big fish. And this one said, okay, if that's what you want, Justin, then I will eat this bait. It's rare that a fish will listen to you like that. This is a very courteous fish. I wouldn't be surprised if he's calm and cooperative when we get him up here. I hope it's as big as the last one, or bigger. I like getting them like that, man. You get fish that size, it's a good time regardless, but it's a good time especially reeling them into a kayak. I think this one, I don't know. I thought it might be a little bit smaller, but we'll see. Most important thing is not the size of this fish, but it's whether or not he gives us the bait back. We need, especially this, we got more white bass. This is it for skipjack head. One daggone skipjack yesterday. One. We should be about to get a look at this thing now. He should be just almost up here. 57 feet here where we're at now. Getting a little deeper. I think we're going to get deeper, and then it's going to come up and get a little shallower. But we're probably going to be 50s most of the morning here as far as depth goes. Another good one. Another good fish, buddy. Look at that right there. Not as big as the last one, but that's a solid fish nonetheless. Back down it goes. Yeah, that's solid, buddy. And the head's still on. Heck yes. We'll play it out here a second just to let it calm down. Let it get some of that energy out before we bring it in, and it flops around and acts a fool and slams my fish finder there as our other rod over here is getting hit. We may double up before I can get this one under control, possibly. To my knowledge, the suspended bait still hasn't been touched. If we don't get bit on it in the first, let's say, hour and a half, probably put it up. Just because the bait supply is so limited. I don't want to waste bait on a technique that's not producing. And the suspend bite just hasn't been there recently. It's the fish have wanted the bait's dragging. Why that is, don't ask me. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But it is. That's how it's been. Okay, we've got hold of it here. Nice. Nice fish. This one's another one that's got some weight on it for its size. Let's do just like we done before. Let's fix the bait back and get it headed back out. It still looks pretty good. All right, we got that line going back out. Here, y'all. Let me put y'all up here. Take my buff off for a second here. Y'all can snap a picture of me and this fish. Another nice fish right there. Another good quality, man. It's another one that's thick. We've been getting several fish this length lately, but they've been super skinny. It's been males. Interesting to get the first two fish here to be females. I mean, if there's some females up this stretch here today, we're liable to hook a tank. This could be, I mean, it's got potential, folks. This could be a really good day. It's a good day regardless. We're getting these two fish right off the bat. We'll see you, buddy. Get on. Nice. Nice, y'all. Two solid fish. Just, I don't know, what are we? 30 minutes in here now? Two solid fish. I'll take it, man. I'll take a day like this. And I was talking, I got that slime all over me. I was talking there, let me put y'all back here in the chest. One of them recent trips that we were catching them fish, I was talking about how that bite, this main channel ledge bite here in the summer, post-spawn, like it will be going on all over. Like it's not limited to one specific spot, one specific stretch of the river. Like it'll be going on all up and down the river because them fish, all of these creeks, coves, up along the shoreline, any undercut banks there, like you'll have some fish spawning in all of those places. So when those fish come off, the first place they're going to go is back out to the main river channel. So that bite, again, it's just not going to be limited to one spot. And oftentimes, what happens is you'll have people, they'll see me catch fish in a spot per se, and they're like, well, that's where I need to go. And they're looking around at background trying to figure out where I'm at so they can go there and catch those fish. And I'm honestly kind of guilty of falling into my own trap. Like, you know, that last section of that ledge we got on fish, I had a good day. And so my next trip out, I go back down there that same spot because I knew I was getting bit there. And, you know, if I'm on a good bite, I obviously want to pound it, but there's also part of me that knows like that bite's going on other places. And so unless you're just on really big fish on that one particular area, it's good to go kind of try the bite out on other places, try to replicate that pattern elsewhere to see if you can get on better quality fish. And again, I'm guilty of hammering a bite if I'm on big fish, but you know, again, like just coming out here today, I wanted to come check this area out, see what was going on, and we're off to a dang good start. And I'm feeling like today could be a day potentially for a big fish based on what we're seeing. If there's some female fish through this area, and we've done got two, it's possible we could hook a beast. I don't know why this line ain't going out. I'm gonna let it go a little bit more, but it ain't. I want to come off the reel for some reason, like it's like my line's dug in. There it goes. But anyway, speaking of females, let me tell you what they're doing to their bodies and faces and stuff. So again, my girlfriend, she'll get her Botox from time to time. She don't need it. Hell, she ain't that damn old. But all the cool people are doing it now. And I apparently need it because she tells me I do. I got these lines under my eyes, and these forehead stuff, you know, and so apparently, according to her, I need it, but I'm going to just fight aging best I can with a buff and sunglasses so I don't squint. But anyhow, let me tell you what these women are doing now. This is a trend, and I don't understand it. Just like this fish don't understand why he's got a hook in the mouth. I may not get this story out if these fish keep biting. He's got it though. Pause the story again. You just tell your girlfriends and wives to go on, but they ain't going to want to hear this. I'm going to upset some women today. Ain't but 10% of my audience is women, but I think that number's off because I think some of you fellas out there are watching these videos with your girlfriends and wives and stuff. Because it seems like when Google tells me only 10% of my audience is women, and then I say something that's offensive to women, it seems like more than 10% of my viewers comment and let me know what a jerk I am. So I have to believe it's because some of you are watching. Google's counting you, the man who's logged in, as the viewer, but really, your girlfriends, wives, daughters, and everybody else, grandmas, whoever the hell you're watching with, they're getting pissed off at me and then logging in on their accounts to let me have it. I'm gonna tell them something today though, by gosh, because this is getting out of control what they're doing now. We'll see if this fish is out of control. We get him up here. Now I'm gonna finish that story. I hope this white bass, it was really tore up with the mouth after the first one there. I hope this bait is still on and functional. 3 fish now in a few minutes. Like we're gonna have a real possibility of running out of bait today. I see bubbles coming up on this fish. We get this one in, we need to lower our suspend rig down some more. We're 59 feet here now. Yep, bait's still on. This is the smallest one thus far. It's a fun sizer. It's a nice fish. Although the bar has been set low, I don't think he's hooked very good. Oh, he's not hooked good at all. Maybe we can pop this one free without bringing him in here. It looks like he's skin hooked kind of on the top of the mouth. Yep, there he goes. There it goes. Quick release on that one. I saw it. I don't think it was hooked like inside the mouth. I think it was like on the very top lip on the outside. Boy, that bait looks rough, don't it? I want to just try to run it for a little while longer. If I can find a way, let's do it like this. All right, got that going back down. We'll just hook that bait through the top there, through the meat, and next fish we catch will probably throw it off, hooking it like that. They last longer if you go up under the gill plate, out the nostril. But if we can get 3 fish on it, I'm happy with that. So anyhow, these women, folks, these girls are putting stuff in their lips now to make their lips look huge. And some of them have gotten out of control with it. I was on the Facebook the other day, and I hate Facebook, but I was bored and I was scrolling through. And for any of you that are on it, you know how like it'll show up, you'll scroll along and you'll see some posts and advertisements, and then it'll show you like people you may know, right? Well, I'm going through there, and one of the people I may know pops up, and I recognize her. It's an ex-girlfriend. It's a girl I dated in college. And, you know, I'm a long time removed from college as I'm getting a little older now. And I hadn't seen this girl since her and I parted ways. Like her and I didn't end on the best of terms, and we hated each other's guts. And so when we broke up for we had a few breakups. The first breakup never takes, of course. But once we got through the final breakup there, it's like her and I were done. Like we hadn't seen each other, talked to each other since. And so it's been a long time since I seen this girl, but I guess Facebook and their infinite wisdom and the people you may know, well, I guess they know that I may know her, and so she pops up on my thing and I see her. And again, first time I have seen this girl in years, I mean a long time. Let's flip that bale over there. Folks, this girl, first off, I mean, I don't want to trash her too bad, but she hasn't aged well to start with. Women, and I'm going to piss some of you girlfriends and wives off here, but I'm telling the God's honest truth. Women don't age well. Most don't anyway. I mean, there's an occasional Jennifer Aniston out there who's, I think she's 50, 60 years old now and still looks like she's in her 30s. Looks amazing. But for the most part, just as a general rule of life, men age better than women. Men kind of have a slow decline. Like we kind of peak there in our mid to late 20s and just slowly taper off until we hit the grave. Women, I think women kind of peak a little younger in life, maybe early 20s, some of them mid 20s, and then they'll still look really good for the most part up until 30, 35. But it's like once a woman hits 35, especially after 40 years old, things tend to fall off pretty quick, okay? Now again, there's Jennifer Anistons out there. This ain't 100% across the board. And I'm not saying that all women over age 40 are unattractive. I ain't saying that at all. There's a lot of hot women out there that are still looking real good. You know, they probably don't look as good now as what they did when they were 25, but they look so damn good when they were 25 that even though they may have fallen off 50% in the looks department, they're still 300% more attractive than a lot of the sloths we have around here in East Tennessee. You know what I mean? So like, I ain't saying that a woman over 40 ain't attractive, because there's a lot of hot women, 40s, 50s, that still look damn good. So again, don't blast me for that. But what I am telling you is the God's honest truth that women, on average, don't age as well as men do. They go down a lot quicker than a man does. Man, you know, you look at if a guy keeps himself in reasonable, healthy, fit condition, you know, cardiovascular wise, you know, if he keeps his weight under control, it don't matter if his hair turns gray. It don't matter if he loses his hair. Women's still going to find him reasonably attractive through his 30s, 40s, 50s, if he'll just keep himself in good physical condition as far as like weight and stuff goes, and muscles, you know. Women, though, I'm telling you, man, they just kind of fall off a cliff. And anyway, I see this ex-girlfriend, and she has went off a cliff. And I don't know how old she is now. I'm trying to think. I think she was a year or two younger than me when we were dating, and I'm 42 now, so she's probably around 40, give or take. So she's at that age where things start to decline for her. And she's packed on some pounds. And anyway, I see her, and I recognize her. Her name's different. I guess she's been married, or I don't know if she's still married. I haven't kept up with her. I don't know. But her name's different, so I guess she's either currently married or has been married, and her name's different. But I recognize the first name and her face, and I'm like, oh, wow, boy, you know, the first thought when you see somebody you ain't seen in a long time is like, wow, they've went off a cliff. But immediately, the first thing I noticed on her lips are huge. She's had them lip implants or lip filler, whatever they call it, these lip injections. And I swear, y'all, I thought, I actually clicked on her profile, not trying to like be all up in her business or anything, but I clicked on her. I'm like, is this picture, did she take this picture from the ER? Is she having an anaphylactic reaction? Is she having an allergic reaction causing her lips? I mean, as an ER nurse, like I've seen some people have their lips swell up, right? I mean, it happens. But I swear that's what I thought. I'm like, she's having an allergic reaction to something here. Her lips were that swollen up. Let's lower we're 62 feet here. Y'all need to keep track of your suspend rig while I'm distracted telling stories. We're gonna be 10 foot off the bottom if we ain't careful. I'm gonna raise it up a little higher than we should, but okay. But she's got these giant ass lips. I click on her profile. It ain't an allergic reaction. Hell no. Like, that's what she wants to look like. She's lost her damn mind, apparently. I mean, listen, I get it. You know, when you're a woman, and women are they're more fixated on their looks than men typically are. You know, they're more. You know, I started losing my hair 10 years ago, and my first thought was, well, it's sure going to make getting a good haircut a lot easier. You know, I didn't even really care. It didn't affect my identity or my sense of self-worth at all, but it does with women. Like, their self-esteem, their confidence is oftentimes tied to appearance. That's why every woman I've ever known that has got a boob job, her and her husband or boyfriend has broken up. Shortly thereafter, she's gotten a divorce within a few months. Why is that? Well, a husband buys his wife some boobs, and she gets these implants, and now all of a sudden, she's got more confidence. Her self-esteem's higher. She's walking with a swagger. Like, she feels good about herself. And that confidence, that change in her attitude, changes her. And when she changes, it changes the dynamic of their relationship. And every time, I mean, I've worked with a lot, you know, as a nurse, I worked with predominantly women, and a lot of them got boob jobs, and every single time, without fail, relationship ends. You know, their whole, and it ain't just the relationship with their boyfriends or husband that ends. Like, you can tell they're just a different person. They're so much more confident. And the only thing that changed was their boob size. That was it. But by God, you know, it changes something about them. And so women's confidence, self-esteem, it's all tied up in looks. And, you know, these women, they get a little older, they start to decline physically, and so now they're injecting their face with Botox, they're putting this crap in their lips, they're taking Ozempic and these stuff to lose all this weight instead of going to the gym and doing it like they should, and, you know, maybe laying off the sweets and the Cokes and stuff. But anyway, and listen, I ain't trying to talk bad about somebody that wants to improve their physical appearance, okay? I don't give a damn. Whatever you want to do makes you feel good, go for it. But some of them are just taking it too far. Like this ex-girlfriend of mine, her lips, honestly, it looks like she's having an allergic reaction. That's how big they are. It reminds me, here's what, if you haven't seen somebody that's had their lips swell up from a reaction, think about this. When we were kids, well, I assume most of you around my age that come fishing on this trip, so if you're around my age, when we were kids, you go Halloween trick-or-treating, or maybe you had a party at school or something, you know, like a Halloween party or birthday party or something where every kid gets a little treat bag of some kind. You remember, I think they were called wax lips, but it was a piece of wax, essentially. They were shaped like lips, and you could put it in your mouth, and it would make it look like you had these giant lips. That's what these women look like that's getting this lip filler stuff. And so her damn lips are so big, I'm trying to think back to a time when I told her that she could kiss my ass when we were arguing or something. Her lips were so big, she could probably have kissed my entire ass. That's how big her lips are. But I'm like, these women are taking it too far. Like, you want to get a little Botox and fix some lines, okay. You know, you want to drop a few pounds and, you know, understandable. But this stuff, like, I'm like, how do you even talk? If my lips were that big, I'd be smacking my lips when I talk. I don't even know how you would eat. I'd probably be biting my lips, trying to just feed myself. Like, it's ridiculous, man. It's gotten out of control. Now, I don't know what you do about it because, you know, society, women's always had that sense of self-worth tied up with their appearance. And I think with the day and age of social media that we're in, where everybody's looking at you all the time, or at least you think they are, because everybody's constantly posting everything about their lives for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, here we go, fish. No, he's pulling line too. Fish number 3. Oh, did he come off? He come off. He come off. Dang. That sucks, man. We're 63 feet. We've fallen off here to a little hole. The good thing is I feel the bait that's still on there. It may be foul hooked, but at least it's still on. I kind of want to switch it out. It is rough, man. Let's just go ahead and put a new one on. We're not going to throw this one away. We'll keep it in case we just absolutely need it today. But we're on a good bite here. It's still early in the morning, and so I just want to go ahead and see if we can put a fresh bait on and keep the big fish bite going. Take another white bass. We'll put that head back there in the back. You can see though, that's it, man. That's our bait today. That's about 4 hours or so on the water for me yesterday. That's all I could get. Just hard times right now. This has been a very difficult summer for me to consistently stay on bait. And I'm wondering if, you know, the catfish seemed like they were 2 or 3 weeks behind schedule. I'm wondering if I've not been ahead of the skipjack all summer. You know, I try to follow them downriver from the spawn, try to stay on them when they make their run up there for the spring spawning run, but I've just been off. I think my timing's maybe been off. I think maybe I've stayed ahead of them the whole time, potentially. But yeah, folks, I don't know. Y'all need to have a talk with, and I've had to talk with my girlfriend that she's getting ridiculous with this stuff. And I say that, hell, I'll probably end up getting me some damn Botox at some point. One of them will talk me into it. But that Botox stuff, I don't know what the lip filler stuff does as far as how it makes their lips feel, other than swelling them up real big. But I don't understand why they think that's attractive. Like, you know, if you're a woman and you ain't got no upper lip, and some people don't, ain't just women, but you know, some people don't have an upper lip. They do, but it's kind of tucked in and you can't see it. It looks like it just goes from skin to bottom lip. Maybe in that situation, a little lip filler would be okay to make it look like you had an upper lip. But if you've got lips, why the hell you want to make them bigger for? It's not attractive. It's not attractive at all. You look like you're going to get attention. I mean, like when I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see the ex-girlfriend pop up on there, I'm like, holy crap. You know what? That she's just, I almost said S-H-I-T right there. But I'm like, man, like she's hideous. And not just because she's got older and went off the cliff, like she's made herself hideous. And she's there, you know, posing for the camera, posing and stuff, like thinking she's looking good. And, you know, I talked to my girlfriend about this, and she's like, you know, women compliment each other. Her and her friends, like if one of them gets their Botox or whatever, or like they'll compliment each other. They'll tell each other, look good. I'm like, why are you lying to each other? Do you purposely lie to each other to try to get your friends to do something stupid, like make their lips look like they're swollen up 5 times bigger than they should be? It's not attractive. No man on the face of the planet finds a woman with lips that big attractive. It don't look right. It looks like you got some of them damn wax lips like when we were kids. That's what you walking around looking like. So if you're a woman out there, you girlfriends and wives, and the 10% of women that for some reason watch my videos, if you're hearing this, and you want to get a man or keep a man, don't get your lips done. They don't need to be all swolled up like that, okay? No man's going to find it attractive, regardless of what your friends are going to tell you. They're lying to you. But they believe it, by God. All these women believe it. They believe that lip stuff makes them look good. So, it's nice, though. I'll tell you this. And some of you fellas out there can maybe relate. It's nice to sometimes come across an ex-girlfriend from a long time ago, whether it's on social media or in person. Because every time and maybe it's just because I've not picked the best women in the past, I've not always been the best judge of character when it comes to women. Hormones and whatnot get you. Hormones can cause lapses in judgment. You know how it is. Moments of passion can make you make mistakes as far as choosing correct women. But every time it seems like I run into a woman that I've dated in the past, whether we see each other in public somewhere or just this situation, I'm scrolling through social media and be like, oh, hell, I'd forgot all about her type thing. Every time I see one, it's always a bit of a confidence boost for myself. Like, boy, I'm glad that didn't work out. Like, are we snagged here? What's going on with this? I don't think that's a fish. I think we might be snagged. Okay, we're through it. There's your tip right there, folks. Our line was snagged. I gave it some slack and raised straight up, and that will oftentimes get you over and through whatever snag you're in. A little pro tip right there for you. We got some debris here that we're coming up on. They must have run some flow last night. Big splash right over there, whatever that was. But yeah, every time I run into some old girlfriend, I always walk away thinking, boy, I'm glad that didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like they get fat, they get ugly. They got 4 kids by 3 different men. I'm like, boy, I'm glad I didn't take that relationship too far. Whatever we're in here, we're back in it again, I think. I'm gonna give it some slack and raise straight up. There it comes. I felt it go over whatever we was in. Must have some debris down here. 64 feet, we're kind of down in a hole, so I would say there's probably some debris and whatnot that's settled down in there, especially toward the back of it. Knock on wood, our rod on the left over here is pulling through it okay. I'd run into another ex-girlfriend at a store a while back, and her and I, we were okay, as far as I remember anyway. She was a girl I dated a long time ago too. As far as I remember, her and I were okay when we stopped seeing each other. Like, we didn't have any, I honestly don't even remember why we stopped seeing each other. But when I saw her, I was thankful that her and I had stopped seeing each other, because once again, like, she approached me. She's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, I thought maybe it was somebody that recognized me from YouTube at first. And then she's like, you remember me? And she told me her name, and I was like, oh, yeah, wow. Boy, it's been a long time. I didn't recognize her. Yeah, folks, I guess I'll probably have to if I'm gonna fit in with society, I'm gonna have to get me some Botox and whatnot. Apparently, part of my malfunction is when I sleep, my skin folds, and I get them lines under my eyes or whatever. And I don't think any of you fellas out there give a damn about it, but I promise you, your wives and girlfriends notice. They notice that kind of thing. Whether it's man or woman, they're gonna notice it. So anyway, just to put a bow on it here, wrap up this story. Ladies, don't get your lips done. It's a waste of money. You're gonna look ridiculous. The bigger they get, the more you're gonna feel better about yourself, but listen, if you want to increase the size of something, if you want to get your boobs done, that's fine. A man is probably going to notice you in a good way if those are larger. I mean, as long as it's not ridiculous. You know, like all the girls I've known in the past that have had theirs done, it does change. I mean, it doesn't change their attitude and their personality for the better as far as their boyfriends and husbands have gone, because again, it's ruined their relationships. But just their overall mental health seems to have helped them a lot. I think it's you know, made them more attractive myself. But the lips, boy, y'all have done lost your damn mind. So don't do it, ladies. And I know I've probably pissed some of yous off, but it's the damn truth. And if you're honest with yourself, you will have to admit that men age better than women. Not 100% of the time. There's men that go off a cliff. There's women that, Jennifer Anistons of the world, that age incredibly well. But by and large, on average, the average man and the average woman, the average man is going to have a slow decline from 30 to 60. The woman is going to have a slow decline till age 35 or 40, and then it's going to go off the cliff. Thelma and Louise holding hands, driving off the Grand Canyon there, boom, off the cliff. So, sorry ladies, that's just the way it is. And lip filler and Botox only get you so far. That's just how it is. Find you a man that's going to appreciate you for what you look like instead of having to change yourself. There's some man out there, even though you may not be what you was in your 20s, I promise you there's some man out there that will think you're beautiful just how you are. You just got to find that man. Everybody likes something different. I promise you, if you go to the nudie bar, and I ain't been in a long time, but in my younger days I did partake quite often. I wasted a lot of money in those establishments. There's always the ugly one. There's always that ugly stripper in the gentleman's club. And you know what? She's going home with a G-string full of dollar bills at the end of the night too. She's going to get paid too, because just because she may be ugly to you, don't mean she's ugly to everybody. And ugly can be a novelty as well. You know, everybody likes something a little different. So just find you that man out there that thinks you're beautiful or finds your level of ugliness some kind of novelty. I mean, everybody likes something different. This is something that women have had a hard time, that women that I've dated have had a hard time understanding about me. I like women, I'm more attracted to women that are pale. The overall trend in society is to be real tan, right? Women lay out on the beach, they lay out by the pool, they try to get their skin tan. I like women that are pale, always have. I think maybe it's because when I was a kid, one of the G.I. Joe action figures I had was Baroness. She was the Cobra, she was on the bad guys. She had dark hair and glasses and was real pale. And when I look at women today that I most often end up dating, it's dark hair, it's glasses, and pale. So I think it started because of my Baroness action figure when I was a kid. That's where I think it comes from. Now, I like me some redheads too, of course, but, you know, again, that's kind of a novelty thing. You can't just meet those every day. But lay off the lip filler, ladies. It's ridiculous. No man is going to find that attractive unless you don't have an upper lip. If you don't have an upper lip, maybe get a little bit on the top one, but leave the bottom one alone. You're just going to look stupid. You're going to get attention drawn to you, but it's going to be for the wrong reason. I don't even know if they make them wax lip things we used to get as kids anymore. I don't know if they make that anymore. It was always the worst thing you could get at Halloween, that and an apple. But yet, as kids, we'd always take them wax lips out of the package and put them in for a few seconds just to do it. Never would eat the apples, though. My mom made me throw away the apples because she said people was putting razor blades in them. Even as a kid, I thought that was silly because, like, if you had put a razor blade like down into an apple, you would see the slit, like where the razor blade went in. So I just thought, well, if you look at the apple and you don't see a slit in it, it doesn't have a razor blade. But my mom was convinced those apples had razor blades, so we would throw them away. I don't know that I ever heard of a story of somebody biting into an apple that had a razor blade, but I guess it happened somewhere, or else that story wouldn't have got out. How much grief you think I'm going to take from the women, y'all, in my audience? Y'all's girlfriends and wives, I guarantee you look over at them right now. They've got their phone out. They've already logged on to my channel, and they're leaving me a nasty comment right now. Every time I say anything, even if I'm just joking, I can't tell you how many times I've made a joke about women. I get lit up for it, man. I used to work with predominantly women, working as a nurse and ER and stuff, and I like to get a rise out of people. When I'm out here fishing with somebody, I generally talk some trash. That's just my personality, and so I through the years got pretty good at ribbing women and knowing how to push their buttons and say what I needed to say to kind of get them riled up a little bit. And I would do that just for my own entertainment to make the work night go by quicker. You know? And when I've done that on these videos a little bit, just in a joking manner, boy, the women get pissed off, buddy. They get tore up about it. They get very, very sensitive. So I guarantee you, if you fellas looked over at your wives and girlfriends after I told them their lips look ridiculous, especially if they're one of them women that's had their lips done, I guarantee you they're over there lighting me up in the comment box right now. And I'll take it. I'll own it because I'm telling the damn truth, and they just can't accept it. Just like me, I can't accept this thing's hung. Okay, there it comes. There it come out. The right rod keeps getting snagged. We must be down. I think we're in this hole here, 63 feet. We're coming out the top of it now. I think the way we're positioned, I think this rod's going down the middle of that hole, and this one here is kind of more on the edge. So I would say this one's going across more debris over here, just looking at where we're at on the map card. Yeah, here's something though I'll tell you fellas out there. If you're having a bad day, maybe feeling a little self-conscious, look up some of your old girlfriends online. You know, some that maybe you dated 10, 15 years ago. You'll feel better about yourself. The decisions you made or didn't make there that led you to not being with that woman anymore. You realize no matter what's going on in your life now that's making you maybe feel a little down and out that particular day, when you see how bad your life could have been by seeing one of your ex-girlfriends and what they look like now and what's going on in their life, it'll make you feel better about whatever situation you got going on. I guess I've just picked some really bad women in my past because ain't none of them aged well. None of them. The girlfriend I got now, you know, she's what is she now? 37, I think. I think she's 37. 37, 38. I should know this. She's aged really well. Now, it could be because of that damn Botox she gets and stuff too. I tell her she don't need it, but that could be why she's aged so well. In fact, she does. She goes through a whole beautification process every night. Before we go to bed, it takes her a half hour because she's got to wash her face with all these chemicals. Then she's got to put on all this stuff. I go to kiss her goodnight or whatever. I tell her her face smells like a medicine cabinet. I tell her that every night. And it does. Because she puts all that crap on her face. It's supposed to help with skin tone and wrinkles and all that. So I guess it's good that she's proactive about it. Obviously, some of the women, I mean, just take a stroll through your grocery store or Walmart, and obviously some women need to be more proactive about stuff like that. But the women that put that lip filler in, boy, they take it too far. Here's another thing that women do that's ridiculous, but I'm going to piss off all the women today, because if they ain't putting the stuff in their lip, oh, there was a carp right there just jumped. If they ain't putting the stuff in their lips, I guarantee you some of them's doing this. Some of them now are getting their eyebrows done, and I ain't talking about just getting trimmed or waxed or whatever. That's pretty common. But they're getting their eyebrows colored or painted. And every time I see a woman with painted eyebrows, like where they're obviously painted, it reminds me of like Bozo the Clown and Cookie. You remember the Bozo show? There was Bozo and Cookie. And a clown paints their eyebrows, or the area where their eyebrows are supposed to be. And it don't match up with their hair or their skin. It pops out. They want their eyebrows to pop. Why do you want your eyebrows to pop? Like, is that what you want people to notice about you? It don't make no damn sense. Your eyebrows, really? I don't get it. It looks ridiculous, but it's another one of them things. If a woman has it done, her friends are going to tell her it looks good. They're going to compliment her on it, which is going to add to her confidence and make her want to do it some more. She's going to have positive reinforcement. But really, she just looks ridiculous. And the man in the woman's life, and some of you women out there that's watching this with your husbands and your boyfriends, I know they're having to take your side right now. They're having to toe the company line and say, oh, honey, Justin's just being ridiculous right now. Your lip filler looks beautiful. You look amazing. Justin don't know what the hell he's talking about. Well, ladies, I'm telling you what your man can't, okay? He can't, there's no good way that he can tell you what needs to be told, because he'll sleep on the couch for a month, okay? There's no positive spin he can put on it. So he just has to accept it and just has to hope that he don't run into any of his friends when he takes you out to eat and you've got your eyebrows looking like Cookie the Clown from the Bozo show and your lip filler looking like you're having an anaphylactic reaction. He just has to hope he don't run into anybody that he knows. But he can't tell you that. I can. So even though your man right now, he's holding your hand and he's telling you, honey, Justin's being ridiculous today. He don't know what he's talking about. Just understand, he's being nice. If your man's consoling you right now, if he's handing you a Kleenex because I've made you cry by telling you the damn truth, you just need to know that you've got you a good man. And you need to, instead of being upset with him because we got a fish right here after this one. Instead of being upset with your man because maybe he don't find your beautification process attractive, instead be thankful that he's not telling you that your beautification process ain't working. Because some men probably would tell you. So if your man's consoling you right now, he's a keeper, ladies. Be thankful for him. Cut him a little slack. and stop getting your eyebrows painted and stop getting your lips blown up. I guess that fish is gonna leave it alone. Nipping back there. I've pissed off, I guarantee 10% of my audience is women. I done pissed off all 10%. And all the other women that get stuck watching this crap with the husbands and boyfriends, they're upset with me now too. I should have waited to get on that topic till the end of the video when they've already went to sleep, or when they're engaged in their book or social media, whatever it is, when they're not paying attention. It was too early in the video. The women are probably still paying attention. I'm gonna get blasted for it. It's okay. I'll take the fall for you guys. I'll take the heat because it needed to be said. Now, the ex-girlfriend of mine that I saw there on social media, I hope she keeps blowing her lips up like that because she looks ridiculous. And again, her and I was oil and water. We were pretty good at getting it on, but that was the only thing that we could do right in our relationship. We just brought out the worst in each other. It was toxic, really. Yeah, I'm a pretty laid-back person overall. And she's probably truth be told, she's probably a pretty okay person too, but you just couldn't put her and I together, and it just didn't. Aside from physical attraction at the time, there ain't no attraction left now from looking at her. That was the only thing her and I had going back in the day. Oh, we gotta get our back rod here. I think we're still okay. We come up shallower. It's weird, this rod here just has not. I want to reel this thing in. Something ain't right about this. Did we lose our head bait? Something's weird about this thing right here. I feel something now. Now I don't have a clue what's going on with this rod. Oh hell, it's gotten. I got hung in my. Well, that's why we ain't been catching nothing on that. I got hung in my dang suspend rig, y'all. There ain't no wonder that bait ain't been running around. Let's throw it out that way a little bit and get it off to the side. Well, y'all should check that a whole story ago. Your girlfriends and wives now, they're laughing at me. They're saying, yeah, Justin, you were so focused on telling us we don't need big lips. You wasn't paying attention to what you was doing. You could have done caught 5 more fish. And they ain't lying either. They ain't lying when they say they lying to themselves over their lip filler and their Botox and whatnot. Oh crap, now that our suspend bait's down, it's dragging bottom. We gotta fix that. Okay. All right. Now, hopefully we got everything rolling back out like we need to. Hopefully everything's getting situated now. I wonder when I let that thing out. It didn't seem like it was letting that line. I wonder if it's because it was in my dang suspended line at the time. I swear y'all should have done fix that. That's your all's mistake, not mine. I'd never goof up like that. We've still done pretty good considering we had basically one functional line as we've been pulling along through here. This probably increased our bite a little bit. Part of me kind of wants to circle back, come through that area again, since we had them better quality fish, but I guess we'll just keep going. I will run into some more up through here. Wasn't nothing special about where we were at or anything. Again, it's just main channel ledge. We're just focusing on the areas where those fish are going to retreat to after the spawn and giving them an easy meal. And just like that, buddy, we're getting hit. We get it down there on bottom, we got hit. That fish right there, he needed some lip filler. If he had bigger lips, he'd have been able to eat that bait. we'd have been able to hook one of them lips better. Yeah, I guarantee you though, at some point in mine and that girl's relationship in college, we had an argument. I'm sure we had a bunch of arguments. I'm sure at some point I told her to kiss my ass. And if she had had the lips back then that she has today, she could have kissed my entire ass if she had actually done it. It's crazy. How does this stuff even get started is what I want to know. It's like, it probably started, it was probably legit, like some woman that didn't have an upper lip, she got some lip filler, and all of a sudden, she went from looking like somebody that didn't have an upper lip to like actually looking like a normal face. And all her girlfriends noticed, and they were like, wow, Barbara really looks good all of a sudden, you know, or boy, Teresa, boy, she got that lip filler and it really changed her. Like, she looks amazing. I better go get that lip filler too. And even though they don't need it, but Teresa or Jennifer or whoever the hell, you know, with no upper lip, she goes from having no lip to having normal functioning lips, and it makes her look so much better that all women just assume, well, if I go get me some lip filler, I'm going to look good too. And in reality, because they didn't need it, it just makes them look ridiculous. And of course, you know, their girlfriends are going to lie and say, oh, you look amazing, Barbara. Sally, like your lip filler, it really shows. And of course, your husband's, he's got to toe the company line. He can't tell you the truth. Once a man is married, he can't be honest with the woman anymore. It's over. Because when a man gets married, he has conceded control. He has given up control of the household. So if he pisses that woman off, he's going to be on the couch. He's going to have to fix his own dinner and stuff. If he pisses her off too many times, she's going to leave him. And then he's going to be paying alimony and child support if you got kids and whatnot. So it's best for the man in those situations to just lie, to just toe the company line. And so that's what happens. And so once a woman is married, she will never have the truth told to her ever again. Her friends at work, her girlfriends, they're going to lie to each other. Oh, yeah, you know, Tammy, sure, your lips look amazing. Your eyebrows, where did you get those done at? Because that's what women do. That's how they are with each other. And once that woman's married and her husband he can't be honest with her anymore because he don't want to sleep on the couch and he don't want to pay alimony. So he can't be honest anymore. A woman will never be told the truth again after she's married, unless her husband happens to be watching one of my videos and she happens to overhear this. So, ladies, before you blast me in the comment box today, maybe you should start appreciating me a little bit too, and just know that I'm doing you a service by telling you look ridiculous, because I'm doing what your friends want and your husband can't. I'm hung up here too, by gosh. Let's see if we can get this one out. There it comes. We're gonna go through some snags here. I see, look right here at this. We're coming up on here about 10 foot in front of us. There's something right there on the bottom. The fish on top of it too, and something on the other side of it. We're gonna try to get snagged in whatever that is here in a minute. It's 5 foot under us now, so it'll be a minute or so maybe, and we'll be up here trying to get snagged in that. Oh, fish on the suspended rod. We just went right over the top of that, whatever the hell that is. We had them fish sitting there one on top and one in front of it. This bait went over it, and I'll be damned if we didn't catch one. This was our skipjack chunk here that was suspended. Suspending rod finally caught us one. I don't know why the suspended bait ain't been good lately, but they have shown a clear preference to the dragging rigs. And when we have gotten fish, I think we got 2 that one day. And the next time I went out, I ran a balloon rig, which is kind of a suspended rig, just higher than water column. But I think all the fish I got suspended, the few we've got lately, has been piss poor quality. They've been real small, like this one. Nope, nope. Well, there he went. He was upset with me like your all's girlfriends and wives are. And he said if I ain't gonna appreciate his quality, that he would just skedaddle, and he did, along with the bait. Let's cut us we'll put another piece of that skipjack on the suspended rod. I would like to save the white bass, the chunks of the white bass anyway, for our dragging rigs, because it is a little bit tougher bait than the skipjack. The skipjack's the smaller fish are gonna be able to tear it up a little more. They can rip it off the hook a little easier. So if you are dragging pieces of skipjack and you run into some small fish and they're just nipping and chewing, sometimes they can get them chunks ripped off the hook or just chewed up to the point that they're not really going to be appealing to the fish you want to catch. They'll do that and you won't know it. Whereas the white bass is just being a tougher bait, hard for them to mess it up. Harder for them to mess. They will. You go through a school of dinks, like they will mess it up, but it takes them a little longer. And they're not going to rip it off the hook. All right, let's send this back down. Drop it down right there under us. I am going to raise it up a little higher so we don't have to tinker with it as we make our way along, and this depth changes. We're back up to 53 feet here now, so I think we're going to be in the 50s most of the day. We had dropped down into that hole there. It's like 64 feet deep. I think most of the day we're going to be 50s. Depending on how far we go up through here, we may hit some 40s in depth. Where are we at on time right now? Like an hour and a half or so into this. So we may hit some 40s in depth up through here. It's hard for me to look just in front of us and be able to judge distances. I'm not very good at that kind of thing, so I don't know how far away we are from those depths, but we'll see. I mean, we're seeing some fish. Like this right here is a fish, folks. That right there, right on the bottom's a fish. And that one right there is a fish. Now, I don't know that it's catfish per se. It could be carp or buffalo or drum. But we're seeing some stuff up through here. So we're going to just stay the course for now. Them first fish there give me some hope that we're going to run into something big up through here. I've caught big fish through here before. Just ain't fished here in a long time. Just a lot of places to fish, and with my skipjack head, there it goes, Imagine that, we get that bait back down on bottom. We were pulling a long ways with that thing, probably. Oh, he just come free. But I bet we pulled a long ways with that thing wrapped up in our suspended line. I'll probably end up regretting even bringing that suspended line today, but I thought we'd try it. It might get us a flathead. I'm gonna throw that skipjack head back out. It's been an hour and a half. It's been hit numerous times. We've caught fish on it, a fish on it. If I had more, I would switch it. But I don't, so we're going to go with it. The water temps, when it gets to warm water like this, these baits are going to bleed out a little quicker, especially when you're moving. Now, if you have current, same thing. The current in the warmer water will wash out your baits. Just moving like we're doing today, trolling, will wash them out a little more. Colder water, they last longer. They just don't bleed out as fast. Or if you got frozen bait, obviously they don't bleed out as fast. But ours is good and fresh, so it's not going to last as long. But is the washed out skipjack head better than a chunk right now that's fresh? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I've got a lot of confidence in them heads. We could certainly put another white bass head on or a white bass chunk. We could do that, but I'd kind of like to have the variety, at least for a little while here, at least a little bit longer into the morning. You know, as we get later in the morning, I would expect our bite will probably taper off as we get later into the morning, but we're still kind of in that time period here now where normally it's still pretty good. And you get this post-spawn bite, the bite can last, you can have days where it's going to last a little longer anyway, just because they're trying to get their weight back on. But I think the fish we've got so far have been females. They probably heard me talking about that lip filler and stuff, and they're coming up to defend the other females, who undoubtedly, again, are defending themselves in my comment box right now. Hell, by the time this video comes out, I may not even have a channel anymore. I may have done been hacked or something. Y'all following this stuff that's going on with channels getting hacked? It almost got me. I told that story recently, one of these videos, but I got email from Canon cameras, or so I thought. And they were wanting to sponsor videos and on my channel and was going to send me free cameras and stuff. And that's very common as a YouTuber. With any kind of following, companies reach out. And anyway, I'd watched another video of a channel getting hacked, and that put me on to another channel who had gotten hacked. And anyway, they had gotten that damn Canon camera email and worked a deal, or so they thought, for the camera and video sponsorship, and then they clicked a link to sign a contract. And that's how the hackers got into their computer. Well, when that video come out, the video where I had told the story of that happening, somebody, and I apologize, I done forgot your name, your channel name, I'd shout you out, but they commented and said that another channel called Lojo, I think it's called Lojo, maybe Loho. It's L-O-J-O. I'm not sure if the J's silent or not. Because I don't watch that channel. But anyway, that they too had gotten hacked. And so I was just curious. I clicked on their channel. I don't ever watch their stuff. I know a lot of you all do, because on YouTube Studio, it's the app where, well, like if I want to go check my YouTube channel's performance or videos or whatever, there's a YouTube Studio app that I log into to access my channel. And one of the things on that app is, because Google tracks everything we do, one of the things on there is there's an audience tab, and it'll give me information, kind of basic stuff about you all, not individually, but just as the audience as a whole. That's how I know like 10% of my audience is women. Well, I see it on that audience tab. It tells me the demographics, tells me where people are located. That kind of thing, where the bulk of my audience, that's how I know like 10% of my views come from the state of Texas. Well, I know that because of this information that Google gives me on the app. But one of the things they do on there is it'll tell you, it'll rank like the top 15 channels that your audience watches in the last month or however long you set it for. And so that Lojo or Loho or whatever, however you pronounce it, apparently you all really like his stuff because I see his name up there on my channels that you all watch regularly. So anyway, I don't watch his stuff. It ain't really, I don't think I'd ever watch one of his videos before I watched his video about his channel being hacked. I was curious to see what had happened, get his story on that, but I think that was the first video I'd ever watched and probably the last one I ever watched. It ain't my style. And I ain't talking bad about the guy. His channel's huge. It's way bigger than mine. And and he's had more success than I'll probably ever have on YouTube. So what he's doing is working for him, but it's not for me. Okay, you know, it just ain't. I don't like, I'm trying to think how to word this so y'all understand what I'm saying. I don't like YouTubers who splice their sentences together. And and maybe a lot of people don't notice it happening. I noticed it maybe because I've edited a lot of my own videos. I can see, if I'm watching somebody else's, I can see where they've edited. And anytime I see another YouTuber who has spliced sentences together, I make one of two assumptions. Either one, they're a complete stupid idiot and they just can't formulate a thought. Like me sitting here talking to you right now, this is how I talk, okay? If you and I were having a face-to-face, in-person conversation, this is how we would be conversating. I would talk, you would talk, it would be back and forth like this. It wouldn't be, I'll say a sentence or part of a sentence, edit, and then splice another part of the sentence or make my sentences closer together. It just wouldn't be realistic. It's just, when I see channels that do this or YouTubers that do this, I'm like, why do you do that? Are you just a stupid idiot and you can't formulate a thought? Or are you lying to me? Because that's the other scenario. If you're having to splice your sentences together and edit everything down, are you trying to hide something? Are you lying to me? Are you trying to pull the wool over my eyes? Like, what's going on here? Why can't you just talk and converse like normal? Doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, when I see a channel like that, and this guy I noticed in his video talking about getting hacked, he was splicing stuff together and it was making it appear as if he was talking faster than what he actually probably talks in real life, and I just find that, I find it to be not very authentic. I don't like it. And again, I ain't talking bad about this guy. What he's doing is working. It clearly works. His channel's huge. He gets way more views than what I'll ever get. So I'm not talking bad about him. You know, I'm not going to get in his comment box and be like, this is stupid, like y'all do with me anytime I say something wrong or something you don't like. But I just, you know, I see a YouTuber like him. I'm like, oh, this person isn't for me. I click off and I go about my day. You know, it's no big deal. Clearly, again, a lot of people like what he's doing. What he's doing works, so I ain't telling him to change nothing. Clearly, keep doing what's working. But it ain't for me. So anyway, I'm off in the weeds here. But I had never seen any of this guy's videos. I watched this one. And come to find out, his story was, he had also got that damn Canon camera email. Or so he thought it was from Canon. It looks legit. I mean, I got it. It looks like it is legitimately from Canon. Like, I mean, I could have very easily been duped on this. I mean, very easily. And I think the biggest surprise for me, like, this guy's part of the Guggen squad. Like, he's got a huge channel. The other guys in the Guggen squad have huge channels, and they've kind of combined forces with each other, right? Like, they're one big group now. And so I would have thought, as big as each one of them are and as big as their faction is, like, I would have thought they probably would have had an agent of some kind, like somebody to handle the business deals and set all that kind of stuff up. Because I mean, it's honestly, I get them emails all the time, but it's time consuming to have a back and forth email with the company and set everything up. And like, it's as much money as they're making, as big as they are, I would have thought they would have somebody to kind of handle that stuff for them. But anyway, he got the email. He responded to it. It seemed legit. And they sent him a link. You know, the other person, the Save a Fox channel that I mentioned, the guy on there said that he had got a contract, if I remember correctly. And when he went to sign the contract, that's how they got him. The Lojo guy, he had gotten I believe it was like the information about the camera they were going to send him. And he clicked on the link there to show the like camera specs, if you will. And that's how they got him. And deleted all his videos, was live streaming stuff that shouldn't be live streaming and whatnot. And they got his Google account, his YouTube account. He was locked out of his email, and like he was out for a whole week. And his channel's huge. I mean, he's got, I think, 700-something thousand subscribers, I think it was. Gazillions of views. Like, I mean, he is a big channel and couldn't get anything done in a timely manner through Google and YouTube. I mean, it took, oh, is our back rod? Something hit our suspended bait there. Gave us a little tease. I do think we've gotten out of the bigger fish. Should we make a run back down and go through it again? Try to get on some of them big females again? Do you want to do that? We could keep going. But I kind of want to go back through it again. It's not, I mean, we're not getting bitten nonstop through here, but the quality, especially them first two, bear with me, y'all, let's do it. Let's just run like half a mile back down river here and come through it again one time. If we get bit again with some good quality fish, we can keep doing that same path, or if we don't again, then we'll just keep going the next time. Let's do that. I'm probably going to, when we get back down here, I'm probably going to go ahead and just switch out that skipjack head for something else. Either a skipjack chunk or a piece of white bass, maybe just that head's been on here like over an hour and a half now. It's bled out. We got our use out of it best we could. I was snagged in something, this thing. Oh hell, our bait's gone on that one. It felt like I was hung in something. I wonder if that bait wasn't foul hooked and I just ripped it off. There goes another head. Yeah, we'll just run back down here. I'm just curious to go through that area again and see if there's some more fish, or if it's just, you know, again, maybe it's a time of morning. We should have been fishing today 30 minutes before we actually were. I was just drag-assing getting out here today, and Daphne the dog took forever this morning. Every time I get up late, she takes her sweet ass time too. Yeah, let's run back down here. So anyway, finish up on this Lojo or Loho getting hacked. And again, I don't know how to say his name. Sometimes, you know how it is, sometimes the J will be silent. But I don't watch this guy's channel, so I don't really know how it's pronounced. But anyway, he clicked on the description or specs or whatever of this camera that he thought he was getting. And again, the camera, I mean, he showed screenshots of the email and the camera thing that he clicked on. It looked legit. And you know, and that's a very common thing that happens all the time. I guarantee by the time I get done filming this today, I'll probably have 2 or 3 emails. Now, most of them will be companies you've never heard of and you'd never want to hear of. But occasionally you will get a big name company that pops in your email, and most of the time I don't. Most of the time these companies want way too much for way too little. And so I don't fool with it. There's no such thing as, everybody will talk about how, oh, you're lucky, you're a YouTuber, you get all this free stuff. nothing's free in life, people. Nothing's free. Everything has a price. If you get something from a company, they are wanting something in return. They are making an investment in you, and they want to see a return on that investment. So if they give you a product, it's because they think that they're going to make X number of sales based on you using it in the video, or because of your positive review of such thing. And so I don't fool with stuff like that unless it is either a big ticket item, like the electric bikes, or it is a company that's willing to pay me something. Because I mean, if they're sending a product that costs $30, well, it would be stupid for me to put a lot of my time in on that, you know, because I mean, let's say if a product costs $30 retail, how much does it cost them to make it? $5 at the most? What are they going to be out? $10, $15 time they ship it to me? And I'm supposed to give them thousands of dollars worth of advertisement? I don't think so. So I just don't enjoy doing that kind of thing. So unless it's a big ticket item like a bike, or they're just offering me a ridiculous amount of money that's got a comma in it, in the amount, I'm just not going to fool with it. But I did get that Canon camera email. I have had other deals in the past that were set up very similar, where you work a deal via email and then they will send you a contract to sign, or they will say something along the lines of, well, you take the electric bikes, for instance. If a company reaches out, they may have 5 or 6 different models of an electric bike, and they'll say, click this link here and and you can see the different models and tell us which one you want. Well, I mean, I've clicked a lot of those links, people. I've clicked a lot of the contract links. Like, this could have very easily happened to me. And so at this point, I'm pretty much done with any stuff like that, unless, and some people commented on the video I mentioned about the other channel getting hacked, and they had a good idea. Like, well, if they want you to sign a contract, have them mail it to you. And I thought, you know, that's a good idea. They can mail a damn contract. It'll delay the project a week or two, with having to mail me a contract and me mail it back. But that would avoid any links being clicked potentially. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. But I probably won't be doing much of that stuff anymore until companies figure out a way to do it better. But these scammers, man, they are good. Like, they have figured out, when that Canon email, like, it looks legit. It looks like it come from Canon. Like, it looks like the real deal. So I don't think less of it. I don't think less of this Lojo guy or the Save a Fox people or anybody else that's been duped by that scam, because I mean, anybody could have very easily been scammed by this. But I do have, so I've touched on it a little bit in some recent videos. I've got an electric bike at my house right now that I don't know what to do with. I've got a deal with the company. You know, we'd worked out a deal. I signed a contract with this particular company. They sent me a bike, or sent Daphne a bike. I get it. I put it together. It's missing parts. Not a big deal. It's a fender and a bolt. Can work around that, but when you open up a package of I think this bike's like $1,200 retail, and it's missing parts, it gives you a little pause for concern, if you will. But anyway, I put it together. I go to turn it on, it don't turn on. Bike don't work. I check all my wires, I double check everything, I can't get it to turn on. So I reach back out to the company, send them a video. They want me to then send them another video proving that I've charged the battery. I do that. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna send you a part. So I wait a good spell and they send me a part. Very difficult to put on. They wanted me to change out the battery, the part of the bike where the battery sets in on the back, like where it makes the connection. They wanted me to change that out. And these bikes, they're built over there in China, probably by children. If not by children, probably by women with very small hands. I've got man hands, and getting down into that little crevice there, like it took way too damn long to put this part on, to take the other one off and put this one on. I was very pissed off. I was very frustrated. Anyway, I get it put on. Well, guess what? Bikes still don't work. So, you know, I reach back out, and like, I send them a video showing I've put the new part on, it don't work. And I tell them, like, look, you know, and I tell them up front, any company that I'm working with, I tell them, like, I'm not going to lie for you. I will give, if I'm doing something with your product, I will give honest feedback. If I have a good experience, I will tell people I've had a good experience. But if I have a bad experience, if your product does not work as advertised, if I have issues with it, I'm going to tell people. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sacrifice my reputation for a product, a bicycle, or whatever it is they're sending. I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it to me. And so when I reach back out to the company, I'm like, look, we are at a point now, the bike shows up missing parts, it doesn't work. You've sent me a replacement part, it doesn't work. Like, we're at this point where I cannot in good faith and in good conscience give this bike a positive review. I've done probably 20 electric bike videos now. Like, it's been a nice racket that me and Daphne's had going, okay? I've made a lot of money from these bikes. It's been a nice side hustle. I don't deny that. This is probably one of, if not the worst bikes that we've had. There was a tricycle bike that was a terrible experience too. But with the tricycle, I reached out to the company. I'm like, look, I've had an awful experience with this bike. It's a piece of junk. It doesn't work properly. I'm not going to give you a positive review on the video. And they were like, Justin, don't do the video. Just take a couple pictures for us for our social media, but don't do the video. I'm like, okay. They let me out of the contract. That was that. I offered this company the same out. Told them straight up, I will not be giving you a positive review on the video. I will do it. I signed a contract. I'm a man of my word. I will fulfill my obligation, but I will not lie to my audience. And they responded back, we're going to send you another part. They want me to fulfill my obligation. And I'm like, okay, I will do it. But it's not going to go well for you. You'd be better off just taking, I offered, have somebody come pack the bike up, ship it back to you. Just cancel out the deal. I gave them an out. So anyway, if and when this bike is completed and works, I guess I'm going to do the worst bike review in the history of the world, where I just blast this poor company because they've sent me a piece of garbage that don't work. It's missing parts. It's on them. You know, it just is what it is. So there's that. So y'all may still be seeing that video at some point in time if we get this bike working. The other thing I have to do is I'm getting another bike, and I think it may actually be delivered today. It'll be sent back to FedEx if I'm not home when it comes. I'm done. Here's another thing I'm done with. We're going to get turned around here in just a second and start trolling back upriver. But these bike companies, in the last year or so, the first several bikes I got, they would ship them. If I wasn't home, UPS or FedEx, whoever delivered it, would just leave it. Great. Wonderful. Now, they're almost all coming by FedEx. I haven't gotten a bike by UPS in a long time. And now they're requiring direct signature from FedEx. And when they check that option, I have to be home to sign for the bike. I can't even sign, you know, UPS, they'll require a signature, but you can get online and sign for it in advance and they'll leave it. Can't do that with FedEx. Not with whatever they're checking on that box. Like, you have to physically be home to sign for it. And that's a problem. Like, you know, because FedEx is never on time. I can't tell you how many times they say something's coming on Tuesday and it don't show up till Friday. You know, you can't spend your life at home waiting on something that ain't never coming. So I'm gonna, and I meant to do that before. Well, of course, here's the thing with this deal, with this bike. I had agreed to do this deal with this bike company months ago. Literally months ago. They never sent the bike. And I thought, well, you know, that's welcome to dealing with China. That's how it goes, you know. Half the time they don't follow through. That's how it is. I didn't think much of it. Well, lo and behold, I get the shipping notice. Months later, they're finally getting around doing it. So anyway, it's supposed to be coming today. And if I'm home before they show up, I'll sign for it. If not, I guess it's going back to FedEx. But I'm gonna start telling these companies, if I work with them again in this situation, if they're gonna require a direct signature, they're gonna have to pay me. Because I mean, if I have to make sure I'm home, then I'm missing out on something. I'm missing out on a day I could be out on the water here with y'all. So they're gonna start paying me for that, or they're just gonna not work with me, or do what they need to do and just let me take responsibility for the bike without a signature. You know, I don't like none of my neighbors, but unless a package gets delivered to their house, they don't steal from me, at least not yet. And I've got security cameras out there if they try. So I ain't that concerned about it. All right, get us going here in this direction. We'll switch out our baits and we're gonna get to fishing again. I think I'm gonna do, the white bass has done us pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do, we'll keep that skipjack head just in case, but you can see it's blanched out there, it's rough. We're gonna do a white bass head and a chunk on the dragging rigs, and we'll keep our skipjack chunk on the suspend rig. We're just gonna go up through here again. We'll dial our speed in here. I think I've got it. On there where we need it, about a half a mile an hour. And we'll go through this same stretch again and see if we can get some more of them females. Now that I've done pissed all the women, I may have pissed the female catfish off too, in addition to y'all's wives and girlfriends with the big lips. It's possible I have. Put a chunk on the rig that don't have a fly. I gotta tie me up some more of them fly rigs. I especially gotta do that before I go down to Alabama, which I'm gonna try to get down there. I need to get down there at some point soon because we got a tournament coming up in September down there, and I wanna be prepared for it, but it's been tough lately because weather has knocked us out a little bit. And the other scenario is just the difficulty in catching bait. I would like to go down there with a cooler full of bait. I don't want to have to go down there and try to catch them. You know, because then you get, if you say you drive to Alabama and I struggle as much down there to catch bait as what I am up here, well, hell, I may not even get to fish. It may be a completely wasted trip. So I'd like to have me a cooler full of bait and then go down. So regardless though, at some point soon, in the very near future, I've got to get down there and put some work in, put some time in figuring out what I'm gonna do on Wheeler for that tournament, because I am in contention to win Angler of the Year. I'm leading the points race right now in Angler of the Year, and if I can get one more top 2, top 3 finish, I'm pretty much going to be impossible to beat for Angler of the Year, which the Angler of the Year, first place in Angler of the Year is, I think it's $2,900, if I ain't mistaken. We had $5,000 in sponsor money for Angler of the Year, and it's paying out the top three spots. And I'm pretty sure first place $2,900, if I ain't telling you a lie. So, worthwhile. And if I can get me another top two, top three finish, I should be. It scores, well, let's let out some more line on that one. The Angler of the Year is determined by, your top 5 best finishes in the tournament. So every time we have a tournament, first place gets 100 points, second place 99, third 98, and so forth and so on, all the way down. And so they add up the top 5 tournaments points. If you get the big fish of the tournament, you get 2 bonus points. And then at the end of the season, whoever has the most points gets Angler of the Year. And so right now I've got two first places and 2 big fish prizes. And then I've got 2 second places and a 4th. So this boat, the river here is super wide. He could have went way further around me. He'll probably stare at us for half hour as he goes by too. There he's waving. Let's wave back. Use all your fingers, y'all. It's rude if you don't. Well, she's waving too. All right. Hopefully that's the only boat we'll see out here. I'm filming this on a weekday, so shouldn't be a whole lot of boat traffic out here. But yeah, so 2 first places, 2 second places, and a 4th place. If I can replace that 4th place with a first or second, a third even, it's those big fish bonus points that really helps out. That's happened twice. That's 4 extra points. That really helps. But at this point, it's my title to lose. So as long as we've got 3 tournaments left. We got Wheeler in September. We've got Louisiana in October and Santee Cooper in November. And as long as I don't just completely doo-doo the bed in all 3 tournaments, I can doo-doo the bed in 2 of them, but I just need 1 of them to go my way. I should have Angler of the Year locked down. It's definitely mine to lose. So I do want to get down there to Wheeler and practice a little bit and try to figure out what's going on. I would assume it's the same bite there that's what's going on here right now. But I've only fished Wheeler twice, once in a kayak and once in a boat. Caught fish both times, got good fish both times. When I was in the boat, we were dragging. When I was in the kayak, I was suspending. So I think there's a chance, being the time of year and just the body of water, there could be some really big fish caught on that tournament. Like it should be some good scores for it. So I want to get down there and just poke around a little bit. But need me some bait, y'all. Need some bait. Bait's been tough. Don't know why. Easy to catch in the spring. Just can't get it now. Just can't find them. They're around. They're somewhere. Everywhere where I ain't lately. But yeah, I'm going to do that. I got to work. Whenever this bike comes, I got to work it in. I'll probably try to throw it on a tournament video. Those are really the only videos I'm editing anymore. I like doing this style here. This me coming out, and if I want to talk about women's lip filler for an hour and a half, well, by God, there's another big splash. And by gosh, that's what we're going to talk about. You can't do that in an edited video. You gotta make your point quickly and get on to the next take, or else, because I think people have a longer attention span than what we're given credit for, because a lot of my 4-hour videos have got 2 hours average watch time. So that means the people that watch for 30 seconds and click off a video, they're driving that average way down. So there's a ton of people that's watching the whole damn thing for them to be able to offset the people that watch 30 seconds a minute and click off. So attention span, I think the whole America, kids today not having attention spans, a little overblown maybe. But I do think the people who click on a video that's 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes long, I think maybe it's not necessarily that their attention span is lower, but their expectations, like what they're hoping to get out of a video that's 20 minutes long, is maybe they go into that video expecting things to move a little quicker, or they're expecting something, and if they don't get it, they click off. And so the videos that I've been doing, these raw and uncut videos, unedited, and I don't do goofy ass titles, you know, clickbait titles, like it's 4 hours, raw and uncut, kayak catfishing, wherever we're at, whatever we're doing. Like when you click on that video, there's no surprises. Like you may be surprised to hear us talking about women's lip filler. But I mean, as far as what's going on in the video, like it's pretty obvious when you see the title, you're getting an unedited trip that's doing whatever we're doing, catfishing, carp fishing, whatever, and we're doing it for X amount of hours. Like that's what you're getting when you click on it. No surprises. And so I think because of that, people kind of know what they're getting with me. I'm honestly at this point, and I've been doing YouTube for a long time, years now. I got 900 and something videos on this channel. I'm out of clickbait titles. Like I've used every possible word combination. Like there's only so many ways you can say you've caught a big catfish in a deep hole, or you've caught a big catfish on a certain type of bait or with a certain technique. Like when you put out as many videos as I've put out, like you've done it all, okay? You've done it all. There's no more stupid ass titles, clickbait titles that I can come up with. I'm out. And I'm at the point now, it's like if I have to do that to get a click on my video, like maybe I just don't need the click on my video. I just don't, maybe I just don't care anymore. Maybe I don't know. I just want to do the kind of fishing I want to do, talk about what I want to talk about. I want to catch this fish right here that's messing with that bait. It's been a while since we got a fish, and I want one. He just wanted a nip, apparently. You know, I just want to do what I want to do, and anybody that wants to come with me on this trip and come along, well, have at it. And if you don't, that's okay too. Just don't click on it. But this style here kind of suits me. I'll ultimately get less videos. I mean, right now it's been pretty good with the bite like it is, but it's easier to get more videos to put out if you are editing your trips, because most of these unedited videos, like if I don't get bit in a reasonable amount of time, I just scrap it. You know, I had a carp video recently. It took like an hour to get the first carp, but it was really good quality carp after that. So, you know, I went ahead and rolled with it. But, you know, and I know these are supposed to be real fishing trips, and real fishing trips, sometimes you wait on bites a long time. That's how it goes. It's fishing. But there is an entertainment side of it. So if I'm on the water, if we'd come out here catfishing today and we fished that first hour and didn't get a bite and didn't have much hope that we were going to get bit, I'd have still fished. I'd have went ahead and put in my time, 3, 4, 5 hours, however long I wanted to, but I'd have probably just scrapped the video. Whereas a day like that, if I was editing, I'd have come out first thing, filmed an intro, showed you my baits, And then the next clip would have been reeling in a fish, whether that took 5 minutes later or 3 hours later before we got the first bite. The next part of that clip, the next part of that video would have been that fish, that first fish. So if you're on a day where, here we go, oh, he dropped it. Dink's down there trying to chew up that piece of white bass. But if you're on a day where it takes an hour or 2 or 3 to get that first bite, which sometimes happens, not as big a deal if you're editing a video, because at the end of the day, as long as you get on a few fish and you know, you're going to have your 10, 15, 20-minute video. Whereas these unedited videos, if I ain't got a bite in an hour or so, I'm just going to turn the camera off. Just have me a day fishing by myself. So I ain't going to put out, this fish better, I swear he better get it the next time. He needs to get him some lip filler so we can hook him. That fish ain't got no upper lip. That's a fish right there that could actually benefit for some lip filler, unlike a lot of y'all's girlfriends and wives. Daggone fish. But yeah, there'll be less overall videos with me doing this format, but way more volume of content, for sure. Way more volume. Just when you look at total minutes that I'll put out. Crazy stuff on the internet, man. Crazy stuff. It's like, I just reached that point though where, is he no, I thought he finally had it. Well, he really ain't got it. He's just chewing. But I just reached that point where I'm like, man, I'm tired of trying to come up with stupid ass titles. Like, I'm just out. Like, it's just, you know, and I don't clickbait nobody. Like, I don't put insane monster fish and then not have a big fish in the video. Like, I'm not, some of these guys, Lord Almighty, they catch a 5-pound channel cat and it's insane monster fish, biggest of my life. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, it's a 5-pound channel cat. And that may be the biggest fish of their life, but like, they should be educated enough on YouTube, just like this fish ought to be educated enough that bait's got a hook in it. Hey, I think he's got it this time. Come on, fish. I want to keep you hooked up. It's been a while. Between the lull that we were in and the fact we reeled up and come back down, I think right in here is about where I got started this morning, I think. Somewhere abouts in here. This was on the white bass chunk that is probably in rough shape right now as many times as it got hit. We'll take a look at it. We got more chunks certainly than we do heads, so we can be a little bit less conservative with those. Obviously, if this chunk's still on, we'll keep it in case we need it, but we could probably switch it out if it needs to be. I wonder if this fish ain't foul hooked or something. He ain't fighting, but I'm pulling him in. I wonder, well, this bait here ain't got the fly on it. I thought maybe he might have rolled into that fly, but he couldn't have done it on this one. He just don't feel right though. He feels like he's, like I'm just pulling in dead weight. I should have let y'all reel this one in. It ain't even fun to reel in. Like when I pull on a fish, I want it to pull back. He's small. Yeah, I don't know what his malfunction is. That's another one there. It's a dink, but skinnier fish. I don't know, he just didn't want to fight today, I guess. got better stuff to do than fight me. He just said he'll admit defeat and just let me reel him on in. I gotta watch that hook, the way it's coming back out that bottom lip right there. That's there he is. He's a larger dink. That bait actually, as many times as it got hit, it still looks pretty good. We'll rehook it and send it back out. I thought that getting hit 3 or 4 times, it would probably look rougher than that, but no, it looks okay. I'll toss it out the side so we don't get hung in our suspended line. All right, y'all, another fish. Broke our slump right there. Even though it wasn't a big one, it is another bite. I still think there's a chance we hook a monster down through here today. I still think there is. Even though it's getting a little later in the morning now, the sun's getting up. It's not got a little haze out here, but not a cloudy day. I still think there's a chance we get a big one. But yeah, I don't know when it was that I got tired of trying to come up with the titles, but at some point I just run out, and you know, I see all these other guys doing it, and it's kind of like, and again, I don't want to be somebody that trashes somebody else's trophy, quote unquote, fish. You know, for somebody, if they get a 10-pound channel cat or 5-pound channel cat, like, it may legitimately be the biggest fish of their life. And who the hell am I to try to knock them down or doo-doo on their catch, you know? Like, I don't want to be that person. But at the same time, too, they're not idiots. Like, they're on YouTube. They've seen other catfishing videos who have put huge or monster or gigantic or whatever in the title, and they've seen the kind of fish that are in those videos. So then when they title their videos similarly, and they're holding up a 5-pound channel cat, like, they have to know that even though that may be a monster fish to them, like, it's not a monster fish to the audience from what they've seen on YouTube, right? Like, it's misleading, it's clickbaity. Like, they have to know that. And so it's stupid. You know, the YouTube title, and then God forbid you get a title that works, everybody's gonna steal it. You know, and it's just don't, I mean, you know what the most ironic thing is, and I know a lot of you don't give a crap about this kind of stuff, but there's been times where I felt like I really had a title dialed in and a good thumbnail to go with it, and I'm like, this video is gonna hit, like, this is going viral, and it flops. You know, that happens all the damn time. But it's funny, like, some of these unedited videos, I mean, as generic as it gets, 4 hours, raw and uncut kayak catfish, just a generic plain title telling you the length of time and what we're doing. Some of them have way outperformed the titles that I just tried to clickbait the hell out of just to try to get the views. It's amazing. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't have wasted all that time and mental energy trying to come up with that stuff. Maybe I should just do what I do and just accept the fact that maybe I don't have any control, because you really don't. Right? Like, I can come out here and I'll catch some fish today, and I'll film this and I'll talk to you all, and we'll have us a conversation, albeit one-sided conversation, but we're having a conversation right now. I can do all that. I can upload the video to YouTube. I have control over that. Once it's on the YouTube platform, I have no more control. I can't control how many people click on it. I can't control how many people actually watch it, how many people share it, how many people comment or hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, or how many people call their therapist and blast me because I've hurt their feelings over their lip filler. I have no control over any of that. But yet, as a YouTuber, I used to spend a great deal of time obsessing and worrying about stuff that I had no control over. And it's like that, honestly, a lot in life as well. I know we're talking about YouTube here in this example, but it's the same way in life. A lot of us spend a lot of time and a lot of mental and emotional energy worrying about stuff that we just truly have zero control over. Like that we can't affect one way or the other. Maybe in our minds we think we can, but really we can't. And I'm trying my best as I get older to try to be better with that. I'm not perfect at it. I wouldn't even say I'm good at it at this point. But I'm trying as I get older to, at least when something's bothering me, try to pause and just think to myself, like, is this something that I can change the outcome of? Or is this something that I'm just at the mercy of other people, of the universe, of luck or misfortune or whatever? Like, is this something that I can change, that I can control? And if I can't, as that fish got another one tapping that chunk over there. If I can't control it or change it, I'm trying to be better at letting it go. Work in progress. Not good at it by any stretch. I don't like not being able to control my own destiny. I don't like being not, I think that would be the worst part for me if the day comes that I get some kind of illness, like some debilitating illness. Cancer obviously pops into my mind first thing. I think that would be one of the worst aspects of having an illness. You know, I'm just using cancer as an example here. A ton of debilitating illnesses out there. But something like cancer, obviously you're going to go through some stuff. Just the treatment alone is oftentimes as bad as the disease itself. And that is, you know, obviously a bad thing you can go through. But I think just the fact that I would have, just giving up that control, having something that I can't fix on my own, that I can't really do something about. I mean, sure, you can go and get the best doctors and get the best treatments and yada, 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 but you're at the mercy of other people in those situations. You gotta spend all day on the phone to get an appointment, and then you go for your appointment and you wait all day in the waiting room, and you know, you see a doctor and they barely look up from their computer at you to actually treat the patient anymore. It's all about treating a chart. And you wait forever to get your test, then you wait forever to get results, and you know, you give up so much control. That would be very difficult for me. On top of just the difficulty of having whatever disease or illness, of course. But I'm trying to get better at that. It's hard though, it's very hard. I think maybe I'm just a little, it's like I think I'm pretty laid back in my mind, but I've probably got more type A tendencies than I want to realize about myself. You know, I was talking to an old friend the other day, old coworker, and him and I, he was an ER nurse too, and we got to talking about the nurses in the ER that like new graduate nurses that come in, or people who transfer from other departments, and you start talking about who makes it and who don't. Because the ER has a pretty high attrition rate. Like, it's a lot of people, they come in, they work a few weeks, a couple months, and they realize, like, either the environment isn't for them or they just can't hack it. And so it's pretty high turnover. And then too, even the people that can hack it, it's typically about a two-year burnout. Usually after a couple years, people have had their feel of it, because it's just it's a high stress environment. It's a very fast-paced, busy environment. There's obviously some podunk rural hospital ERs out there that's maybe a little bit more laid back and less busy. But if you're working in a bigger city, especially in a downtown urban environment where you're going to have a lot of mental health people, a lot of mental health patients, a lot of homeless people coming in, just, you know, high volume, high acuity, it's going to be a stressful job. As we've got more nipping here on this bait. I wish they'd leave it alone. That's a small fish right there nipping. But anyway, him and I, we were talking about the nurses that make it and the nurses that don't, and what it takes, like what, because him and I, we both kind of come to the same conclusion as far as, because, you know, I was in the game a long time. I haven't worked in a few years since I've been doing this YouTube crap, but he's still in the game. But I was in it long enough, like, you could see pretty quickly. You let me work with somebody about 2 shifts, I can tell you whether or not they was going to make it right off the bat. And he was kind of the same way. Like, it takes, give me 1 or 2 days working with that person, I can tell you if they're going to be here 6 months from now. And what it boiled down to, it's not skills. Like, you know, you can teach a monkey how to do the job as far as the skill portion goes. Like, you know, anybody that can follow instructions and has half a brain in their head can do the actual job. What separates the people who succeed from the people who don't is your personality. Are you the type of person who can walk into a room of chaos and take control of that room and get people to do what you need them to do in the time you need them to do it? Can you work efficiently? Can you manage multiple tasks at the same time? If you can do that, you're going to make it. The skill, like, you can take a new graduate nurse, somebody that don't know their asshole from the elbow, fresh out of school, put them in there. They're not going to have the skills of the job. And, you know, it's going to take them a while to figure out a way to work efficiently through stuff. That takes time. But if they have the mindset and the personality that is going to allow them to work efficiently and be able to handle the stress and the pace, like, the rest of the stuff they'll figure out. Actually learning how to do the skills of the job, like, they'll figure it out. They'll get there. Give them a few weeks, you know, just kind of, I don't want to say hold their hand, don't coddle them through it. You know, you need to kind of throw them out of the skillet and into the fire a little bit, just so they can experience it before they're off orientation. You know what they're getting into. You can't coddle them all the way through, but at the same time too, like, they're going to figure it out. And within working, has he got it this time? I think this one may have it, possibly. Nope, we don't. But you can figure out within a day or two whether they got it or they don't. Whatever that it is, it's kind of hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. And I imagine it's that way in a lot of jobs. I imagine, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be like busy, stressful environments. Like, I would imagine you could take a laid-back office job of some kind, if you get somebody that's too high strung in there, they're not going to fit in with the culture. You know, they're probably just not, it's not going to work out. It's just not the right job for them. And it probably, for somebody who's in that office environment, it probably don't take but a day or two to realize, like, Bob in accounting over here, like, he ain't going to work out. You know what I mean? Like, he just don't fit in. And that's part of it, man. I think that's part of it with any job. And it certainly was. I noticed this because I was travel nursing. I travel nursed over 10 years there before this YouTube crap took off. And so I would be the new person all the time. And oftentimes you go in and you start a travel nurse contract, you wouldn't be the only travel nurse there. Like, they might be multiple. Most of these places that you go work at are, let's be real, they're dumpster fires. They're hiring travel nurses for a reason, right? So, like, it's not sunshine and rainbows in there. They're having to bring in multiple people to fill positions. So it wasn't uncommon you'd be starting the job with other nurses. And one of the things that I noticed early on, and I think I noticed it even before I started travel nursing, because when I was working here at home, we had travel nurses come in because we were so short-staffed. And I watched them and how they would work. And I seen who succeeded and who failed. And those who succeeded, they were efficient, they were fast, they could multitask, like they could take control of a chaotic situation, even amongst strangers. It wasn't like working with their friends, like they could come in, take control. The people who didn't work out either lacked organizational skills, or they just didn't fit in culturally wise. Like, some of them had the skills, they could clearly function at whatever ER they had been in their hometown or whatever before they started traveling. But then they would come in and wouldn't fit in with the crew. Because every department, every hospital, whatever your job that you're working is, it has its own culture with the people who make up the staff there. And if you leave that and go somewhere else, you're walking into a different culture. And some people walk in with this mindset like they're going to change the culture they're going into to be the same that they came from. And that just don't work out. Like, you're in for a bad time if you try to be that person. And I saw that a lot. Now, working with predominantly women, one of the things I realized early on was that as a man, I was going to have an easier time fitting in. I think when a man walks into a female-dominated environment, and we've been talking about women a lot today, just that topic of the day, I guess. But when a man walks into a female-dominated environment, I think women don't feel very threatened. I think that they almost like having a man in there. But if another woman, a woman from the outside comes in to a female-dominated environment, they immediately look for ways to try to knock her down, a notch. They're very catty toward the new woman. And so I saw this a lot when I was travel nursing. You'd go in with a group with other women there, travel nurses. I would fit in immediately. And some of them others, especially if they were the type who was they just couldn't get out of their own way. It's the best way I can describe it. Like, they go in and be like, well, why do you do that this way? Because where I worked at before, we did it like this. And I'm like, you're in big trouble, lady. Like, they're going to eat you alive. You know, you can see it, just outsider, just me sitting off to the side, just watching it. I'm like, get your popcorn ready. This is going to be a train wreck for the next 13 weeks. If this person survives, they're going to go through hell for the next 13 weeks on this contract. Like, you can just see it. And I don't know if that's just having some self-awareness or just, maybe it's just experience, but you gotta fit in. That's a very big, important thing. There's certain jobs that require certain personality characteristics. And if you have those characteristics, you're probably going to do well at the job, even if you may be brand new to that job, even if you don't have the skills
to do it right away, as long as you have the personality to be able to handle whatever tasks it is you're going to have to learn for the job, and you have the personality to fit in with the people around you, you're going to be successful in that job, in whatever school program you're in, whatever community group you're involved in, whatever. Same way in sports, you know, you see these athletes, some of these guys, you know, I'm trying to think of somebody off the top of my, Antonio Brown, if you're an NFL fan. You know, how many teams did he go through there before he finally got run out of the league? He just couldn't fit in. And I think the league caught on when he went down there to Tampa Bay, and he couldn't fit in with Tom Brady, who has made everybody better throughout his entire career. It's like, if you can't work with Tom Brady, you can't work with anybody. And, you know, he's out the league. He's a little bit crazy, if you ask me. I think he needs some medication. But, yeah, you know, I don't know how the hell I got on this. I think I got on it because I was talking about a conversation that I had with an old coworker the other day. But I don't remember why I was talking about that. I got so far off in the weeds, I don't even know why we got on that. I know we ain't getting on no fish right now. I know that. Maybe y'all shouldn't have talked me into reeling up and coming back down here making a second pass, because thus far it ain't worked out. Here goes Ski Boater now. Oh, they waved. Y'all wave back. They had some women up on the front deck of their boat. I bet you at least one of them had some lip filler. Probably had their eyebrows painted. Statistically speaking, I think there was about 3 women on that front deck of that boat. One of them's had lip filler. Guarantee it. I need to ask the girlfriend how much that kind of stuff costs. The Botox is expensive. It's like $10 a unit or something like that, and you got to have a lot of units. It's a few $100s. And it ain't permanent, you know, it just lasts a few months. She'll end up talking me into getting it at some point. I ought to get it just to try it. I imagine this, though, with men aging so much better than women, if a man did get Botox, and it probably would be helpful as far as making you look younger and stuff. It'd probably be more helpful on a man than it would be a woman. I gotta let this topic go, though. I've done pissed off all year. Of course, they ain't watching at this point in the video anyway. I done run them out the room. Them women now, fellas, they're done in the bedroom there crying their eyes out. They've called all their friends who also have lip filler to let them know what I said. And there's some woman right now, she's in her bathroom, standing in front of the mirror. She's like, well, my lips don't look like I had an allergic reaction. And she's online, she's probably Googling, what do people with allergic reactions look like when their lips swell up? Google searches of allergic reactions went through the roof after this video. There was at least 10 more searches after that conversation earlier. I don't know where I was going with the personality. I had a point I was going to make. And I think I got so far off in the weeds, I can't remember what I was trying to work my way into. I need to do like these other YouTubers and just start splicing sentences together, I guess, and I could edit out the part that I was having to think about what I was trying to say and make it all sound normal. That kind of thing just annoys me, though. Like, if a YouTuber does that, I immediately just click off the video. And maybe most people wouldn't even notice it. I notice when they splice, when they split a clip. And some of these YouTubers, they try to make their sentences like they make them, it makes it sound like they're talking so much faster than they are. And I don't like that. It's just not natural. It doesn't seem authentic to me. And again, I'm going to assume either you're an idiot and you can't have a conversation, or you're trying to hide something from me. You're trying to fast talk me and pull something on me. Either way, I click off the video. I ain't gonna do it. I can't. I'm not gonna leave them a comment. I'm not gonna write an essay down there telling them they ought to be different, as we got a fish here working this bait. And another one that I think let it go. I don't know if it's small fish or they're just not committing. We should have kept going though instead of coming back. I'll tell you that. We should have just kept on the path we were on. The dumb decision y'all made. Very dumb. I blame you all 100% for that. Y'all talked me into it. But yeah, I guess that's one of the things I feel like I'm better able to do with this style of videos. I can just come out here and say whatever I want to say and how I want to say it. Whereas the edited videos, I did always feel like I had to get the point across quickly, because I knew people were going to click off if I didn't. And so it just didn't suit me. And so, yeah, I'm just not going to do it anymore. Them other fellas, if it works for them, if they like doing that, well, more power to them, I guess. I'm not going to go in their comment box and write an essay telling them that I don't like it. I'm just not going to watch. Just click off the video and go about my day. I'll tell you what I am watching right now, though. I'm going to plug him. I'm going to give him a free plug on here. It's my Carp friend up there in Ohio. He's part of our catfishing tournament trail. Hold on a second. What is this we're going across here on bottom? I can't tell if that's a fish. I think that might be a fish. Or if that was some piece of debris. That is some fish, but is that some brush? I guess we'll know in a minute if we get hung. That's 10, 15 feet in front of us, so we'll know here in a minute. Actually, no, that's beside us. I had the transducer pointing the other way. I was going to say if we got hung in it, we'd know. But we are about to go across something right here. I'm going across it right now. I guess if we get hung in a minute, we'll know we should have changed directions. But anyway, my cop friend Brandon up there in Ohio, he started him a YouTube channel, because why the hell not? Everybody else has got one. And when he first talked about doing it, I thought, oh great, here we go, another friend I'm going to have to be obligated into watching a few videos. I'm about tired of making friends with YouTubers, because it gets to be so time consuming having to, the obligation of having to watch them, and then they want you to critique them, and like I'm some kind of damn YouTube consultant, as if I know what the hell I'm doing in this myself, And so anyway, I'm like, great. But he's actually a pretty good talker and is good at explaining things, probably from being a cop. I guess he's had a lot of practice talking to people. But one of the things he does, in addition to fish, is he is a falconer, which is a bird catcher and bird trainer. And he just come out with a video on falconry where he is capturing a red-tailed hawk up there in Ohio. And he captures one on this video. His channel is called Fins and Talons. For any of you that might be interested in such a thing, I'll plug him here, free plug. First one's free, Brandon. It's gonna cost you after this. But Fins and Talons, the name of the channel. Oh, we're hugging, whatever the hell that was, right here, we're hugging it. Dadgummit. I told you was gonna get hung on that. I told you would. All right, we come through it. I told you that was gonna happen, you didn't believe me. But Fins and Talons is the name of his channel, and he's a falconer, and he's capturing red-tailed hawks up there. And he's been through the process. He's got the permits for such a thing. And I am honestly fascinated by this. Like, I watched this video just to be a good friend, you know, just doing the deed. And I'm like, this is actually pretty entertaining stuff here. Like, I'm fascinated by this. Like, I think I want to do this because I've got hawks in my area too. And you know, I've got a squirrel problem I've talked about. They get to my feeders, my bird feeders. Because I like birds. I don't have a pet bird or anything, but I like birds. I have a bird feeder in front of my living room window. It's one of my guilty pleasures. It's one of the few things in life I spend money on outside of fishing. And I buy the bird feed, and I like watching my birds come up. And so I'm fascinated by them. And he's capturing these hawks. And what he done, and some of you may even know about this kind of thing, but it's a fascinating watch because he set out this trap basically on the side of the road. He had spotted a hawk up on a power line, and he had this wire cage trap with these, it's almost like a snare, no, what do they call a snare, or a little noose? Basically, you got this wire trap. He puts a hamster inside the trap. The hawk swoops down, tries to get the hamster, and one or both of their claws or their arms gets hung in those loops, the snares or nooses or whatever you want to call them. And then he's able to go up and put a hood over this bird's face. And when you put the hood over their head where they can't see, the bird's calm. You can do whatever you want to with it. And so he was able to wrap it up, weigh it, spray it for bugs and mites and stuff. And then ultimately in this first video, he let it go because he says he wants a bigger one. But I'm like, this is pretty fascinating stuff. And apparently these falconers, which is what they call that, even though he's after a hawk, it's called falconry. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you're a falconer, it seems like you would be catching a falcon. I don't know if we have falcons here and if it's the same process or not. But either way, he's getting hawks. But it's fascinating, and I'm curious to see the process of training these birds, because apparently you hunt with these birds. And I thought, man, I'd like to have me a hawk. I think I would name it Harold. Harold the hawk. And what I would do is I would train it, if I could, to eat the squirrels that come up and attack my bird feeders. I'd like to make Harold a perch out there next to my bird feeder so I could sit there and look at him from my living room window. But how awesome would it be just to walk around with a bird on your arm? Can you imagine, like, let's say you're going to the flea market this weekend. You're going to go, you know, maybe buy you some stolen power tools or some used clothes or whatever, you know, they got going on at the flea markets these days. I ain't been to the flea market in ages because that's all it is stolen goods anymore. I used to go there and get some plants from the Mexicans if you wanted to get a poblano pepper plant. You had to go to the flea market and get them from the Mexicans because none of the stores had them. But this year, I only planted one poblano pepper plant this year. And I wasn't even going to do it, but my mom had found it at a store and she got it for me. But anyway, I ain't been to the flea market in ages, but how cool would it be if you went to a flea market and you just walked around with that bird, with a hawk, just sitting on your shoulder or something, like a pirate? That would be badass. So I think I want to kind of maybe, and Brandon's offered to take, and I'd have to drive back to Ohio. And it's a pretty good haul to get up there to Columbus where he's at. But he's offered to take me and to kind of show me the ropes. It looks intimidating because these birds are big birds. They got these huge claws. And they got a beak that looks like it could jab your eyes out. But, you know, it's pretty interesting. I think it would be very intimidating to grab one of those for the first time, even if you did have that big leather glove on. But it's pretty cool. And it doesn't seem like it's something, obviously you got to have knowledge to do it. You need to know how to handle the bird and set the trap and where to locate the birds and all that. Like that, there's going to take some knowledge to it. But the actual supplies needed, very minimal, at least so far in capturing the bird. Like, you know, for instance, if you're brand new to fishing and you see me doing this and you want to go catfishing, well, you're going to need rods, reels, hooks, line, bait. Are you fishing from the bank? Are you in a kayak or boat? Like, there's a lot of accessories you're going to need. Like, it's an expensive, fishing's kind of an expensive hobby to get into from the start. If you're just brand new, don't have anything. But this falconry deal, like, it seems to be pretty minimal. You need a hamster or a rat of some kind, or a mouse. You need one of them wire cages, which I don't know how much those cost. I would assume probably not very much. One of them leather gloves, one of them hoods for the birds. And he had something that he wrapped around the wings of the bird. I forget what that was called. And he had a roll of duct tape to like tape up its claws there when he was putting it in his car to weigh it. But like, I would bet, and this number could get thrown off a little bit based on the cost of that trap. I don't know how much those are. So we got a fish here. We got one on the suspended rod. Finally, y'all, we got another bite. It's been a while as bass boat goes by. He ought to slow down so he can see a fish. I guarantee you he ain't caught one today. That bass fishing was probably skunked on the day, I guarantee it. This one actually ate the fly. That's the smallest one of the day, tiny blue cat. Thanks for not throwing the bait off there, fish. The cut bait anyway, appreciate that. Courteous of you. There he is, tiny little thing. Get on out of here. That bait's been down there a while, but I'm gonna reuse it. Got what, half of a skipjack, the tail portion basically left, so we'll reuse that bait. I needed to lower that bait down anyway. We're at 60 feet now, so needed to lower it. But really, it started off with a bang today, man, and just petered out on us all of a sudden. Maybe we caught the fish that were here, or we should have just kept going. Maybe it's time of day, getting later in the morning. I don't know. Either way, we've just kind of had the bite peter out on us. We know there's some fish here though, so it's just a matter of getting our baits in front of that big one. Definitely not the numbers of fish here though, but we experienced on the other spot that I'd hit a couple days. Because both of those trips had good numbers of fish. I don't think, well, the first day maybe we had a couple there that was comparable quality to that first one we got here today. But either way, we got some good quality fish already. I think we'll get something else up through here too. We'll get back to where we finished there earlier and keep going and hopefully run into some new water. Plus we might have some more fish working down through here as well that we'll run into. But yeah, that falconry, unless those traps are really expensive, and it's just a wire cage with them little snares coming off, I don't think it would be very expensive. But the glove and the hood and the other thing, I mean, I bet you it costs less than $100 to get started in this. Like, I bet it wouldn't take much money at all. Seems like an inexpensive hobby. And I gotta admit, I give Brandon a hard time. When he first told me that he was a falconer, I was really, as you know me, I'm gonna talk some trash. I was giving him a hard time about it, but I'm like, this is actually pretty interesting stuff right here. Like, I could see myself wanting to do this. Now, if one of them hawks lights into me and they get a hold of me with them claws on them, I may not want to do it again. That would be an interesting thing to look up. I may ask him about this when I talk to him again. But there's probably information on Google about this. But like, how many falconers get killed per year? Just because a bird, whether it's a hawk or a falcon or an eagle or something, maybe clamps onto their arm without the glove on and their claws like slice an artery or something. That's had to have happened, right? Like the number's not zero, is it? Because I mean, their claws they look really sharp. So I mean, if it latched on to your arm and it got you just right and got your artery, and you were alone or something, and maybe you didn't have a tourniquet, like, somebody's died from this, folks. I have to believe. It's like when I went to Florida, was it last winter or the winter before, and I got to talking about, I saw the coconut trees down there and palm trees, and I got to wondering, I'm like, I wonder how many people die every year because they get hit in the head with a coconut. It's wrong place, wrong time. They're walking along, minding their business. Coconut falls out of the palm tree, hits them on the head, kills them. How many people? Well, it's like 10 people a year. The number, it ain't zero. It's like 10 people a year die from getting hit in the head with a coconut. Crazy. I have to believe somebody has had a hawk or a falcon or an osprey, something, latch onto their arm, slice an artery, and they bleed out and die. I'm gonna ask Brandon. Speaking of birds, right up here, I think that's an osprey up there, I think. Pretty sure. I wouldn't want to capture an osprey. I find them to be a bit of annoying with the sound they make. The hawks make a cool sound. I hear them flying over around my house all the time. I actually saw a hawk recently. I think I mentioned this on video. It's been a few weeks now. This hawk, I was going down my driveway and I was kind of at the top of my driveway going down, and he swoops down carrying something. I don't know if it was a cat. It had a tail on it. It may have been a cat, like a small cat. And he had so much weight. This animal that it had captured was so heavy, like he barely cleared my fence to like fly up and over it. And then he went across the road up into the woods, and I lost sight of him. I was trying to see him, trying to figure out what the hell he had. I thought it was my neighbor's cat. But they're around my house, and they make a cool sound. I'd like to tame one of them things. And then I got to wondering too, like, can you tame other birds, like other wild birds? I mean, I know you can buy pet birds like cockatiels and parakeets and stuff. You can't buy them cheaply anymore. I was reading information on that. We had went to a pet store a while back, just looking around and stuff. And if I'm in a pet store to get something, I always, first thing I look at if they've got a section where they'll bring in like animal shelter pets, dogs and cats and stuff, I'll go look at those first. I hate looking at them because I want to bring everyone of them home, but I usually do that first. And then I'll circle around and look at the fish. And then I will look at the lizards and birds and stuff like that. And so we come through, and they had a cockatiel bird. It's like a little, I don't know, they're yay big, and some of them are white, some of them are gray. They're a smaller bird. It was like $400. And I'm like, man, I don't remember cockatiels. When I was a kid, we had one for a few months, but we gave it away because birds are really nasty creatures to have. They're cool, I love them, but they're nasty creatures to have in your house. Like, they ruffle their feathers and you just get feathers all over everything, and they're just kind of a nasty animal to have indoors. But anyway, we had a cockatiel when I was a kid for a short amount of time. And I don't remember them being $400. I wouldn't have been able to get one if it was $400 when I was a kid. We just wouldn't have been able to do it. And I got to researching it and reading about it, and apparently the breeders like a lot of them stopped. The pet stores were negotiating the prices down to the point that it wasn't worthwhile for the breeders. Like they couldn't make any money, and then a bunch of facilities got damaged in a storm, like a hurricane or tropical storm or something. And so now there's not enough people doing the breeding for the birds to keep up with the demand, so prices have went sky high. So now you pay $400 if you want a damn cockatiel, I guess. I won't be doing that. But, you know, they're you could put, like, that cockatiel, you could put it on your finger and it would sit there and balance. You know, you could walk, it'd poop all over you, but you could do that. You could put it on your shoulder or whatever. They were a friendly bird. I wonder, with these people that's able, like Brandon, that can tame these hawks, these predator birds, like I wonder if you could do that with just regular birds out in your yard. Like you take a blue jay, for instance. I really like blue jays. I think they're cool birds. They come to my feeders a fair amount at certain times of the year. I think blue jays kind of maybe migrate through East Tennessee more. I don't think they're here in good numbers year round, because there's definitely certain times of the year I see them more. But I think they're cool. Like if you're on a walking trail somewhere, or if I'm just out in my yard and something's going on, like a cat comes in or something's going on, like the blue jays will let you know about it. Like if you're paying attention, they'll start squawking up in the trees, and you can tell a blue jay's sound from other birds. Like they've got a unique sound that they make. Like they're like an alarm system. They're like a security detail team. They let you know when something's up. And I would like to know, can you use those falconry skills on a blue jay or a cardinal or a titmouse? And titmouse, I don't know that they're necessarily the coolest looking bird, but they've definitely got the coolest name. Tufted titmouse. That's the name of a bird. That's a legit species of bird in my area. They come to my feeders all the time. It's a tufted titmouse. That's the name of it. Could you tame one of those and get it to like leave it outside? I'm not saying like tame it, put it in a cage, but like befriend it and get it to, like, if you held your finger out, come out and land on your finger and feed it peanuts or seed or whatever, you know, and blue jays like peanuts. I wonder if that's possible. I mean, you can do it with other animals, so I guess it makes sense. I mean, I had almost tamed a possum one time. I think I told that story before. I was working mid-shift, night shift, and so I'd get home sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was a possum out in my house, and I would feed it cat food. And I about got it to the point like where it would hear me pull up and it would come on to the patio area. And I almost had the damn thing tamed. And I accidentally ran over it. I was coming home one night and it was late and I was tired. I was coming up my road a little too fast, and out comes Porky the possum, and I ran him over. It was terrible. I felt bad. Felt awful about it. That's why I called him Porky the possum. But if I get me one of these hawks, I'm gonna name it Harold. Harold the hawk. And I'm gonna teach it to eat them squirrels that terrorize my bird feeders. And you know what would be even better, because I hate them people that live beside me? If Harold would capture them squirrels on my property and go eat them over on the neighbor's property and leave any bones or whatever's left behind. I don't know if a hawk eats the whole squirrel or not. I imagine they probably take their claws and tear the meat off, but I don't know that to be certain. I've never seen a hawk eat. I've seen ospreys capture fish. I've seen bald eagles around here capture fish, like swooping down the water, grabbing a fish and flying off. But I've never at least to my knowledge, I don't remember ever seeing a hawk or osprey or an eagle actually eating those fish. So I don't know how they go about it. But that would be pretty badass. Train that thing to set on my arm, go to the flea market with me, walk around. I mean, ladies, I'm circling back to the women now. God help me. I can't get out of my own way. I've done pissed these women off, and I'm continuing to antagonize them now. But ladies, if you'll take up falconry and walk around with a hawk on your shoulder or on your arm, you won't have to put lip filler in. You will get all the attention that you want just by having a hawk on your arm. I promise you, you will. I promise you. Men, if I saw a woman walking around with a hawk, like a pet hawk, she's instantly going to be more attractive. Like, she could be a 5, she's probably going to be a 7 just because she has a hawk. She's automatically going to be at least 2 points hotter from whatever she is. And so if she's already attractive and she's got a hawk, ladies, I'm telling you, you don't need no damn lip filler. You need you a bird, a big bird, a hawk, an eagle, a falcon. That's what you need, women. That's how you can attract a man. I don't know if there are any women. I guess there are. There's probably women that are into birds, falconry. I only know one falconer, and that's the cop up there in Ohio, so. I'm into this, but I've only watched his video. I haven't fully went down the rabbit hole yet. I figure as good a talker as he is, he can probably teach me everything I need to know. I probably don't need to try to watch somebody else's videos, because if I did, I'd probably click on somebody's videos that are splicing their sentences together as they talk to me about falconry, and I'd have to click off because I would get annoyed by it. Kind of like I'm getting annoyed with us not catching any fish. Here I was worried about us running out of bait. We can't get a bite right now. I guarantee you we've got more bites today than what this bass fisherman coming through here is going to get. You know he ain't catching nothing today. He can't catch nothing going 70 miles an hour. He's a booking and a cooking it though. That may actually be a catfish boat. It looks like it's got a top on it, bimini top. I don't know what it is. Y'all wave as they go by. Be polite. He's got him a live scope, buddy. That's a fancy mount. That live scope was up about waist high on that mount right there. He ain't gonna hurt his neck looking over at that thing. It'll be interesting to see here in a few years if you start getting fishermen that has neck problems because they spend all day on the water with their neck hunched over looking at them screens. Just like with the coconuts and the falconers getting arteries sliced, I bet you it ain't zero. The number of people live scoping that get neck injuries, it won't be zero. There will be some. If one of them birds though, if one of them hawks had it in for you, like let's say, obviously in the beginning when you first trap the thing, you're gonna have hold of it. But let's say you're a little bit into the process, whatever that process is. You think you've got it tamed, and one day it just gets pissed off at you. You don't know why it's pissed off, and maybe it just woke up in a bad mood that day, and it just ain't putting up with your crap, and that thing just started flogging you. Buddy, it could do some damage. I mean, it could get your eyes, I mean, you'd have a hard time fighting it off. You see that with them animals, man. You try to tame a wild animal. There's been all kinds of, like, who was that magician that got attacked by the tiger? Was it Siegfried or Roy, one of them? Seems like there was one of them that got attacked by a tiger that they had worked with forever. You see, what was, my brain's fried, y'all. I can't, it's right on the tip of my, SeaWorld. SeaWorld. Which those places ought to be shut down. I watched that documentary on them. It's an awful place. They should be shut down. But them whales and stuff, they will kill their trainers sometimes. And you know, them trainers work with them for years. They have a rapport. They think that they're comfortable with the animal, and the animal that day is just pissed off, not having it. And the power of these animals is just, I mean, they can kill you. And that happened down there at SeaWorld. Is that what it's called, SeaWorld? I'm having just a complete brain meltdown. But I'm pretty sure. I think the documentary was called Blackfish. And it was kind of behind the scenes, SeaWorld, and how awful the place is. I've never been to a place like that. I've been to some zoos, which I also kind of feel it's a little bit cruel. I mean, when you see something like a tiger or a hippopotamus, or the worst ones are, I'm trying to think where I saw this at. I think it was somewhere up in Gatlinburg, maybe. Somewhere I went. I think it was up in Gatlinburg, maybe. There was somewhere I went up there. They had a polar bear. And aside from that 1 week in January this past year where we had a polar vortex come through, it don't get cold in Tennessee. Like, it don't get cold enough for very long. And I'm like, that poor polar bear just got to be miserable. It's in the wrong environment. It's trapped in a small cage. And that's its life. Like, that's where it's going to be until it dies. You see that with other things too. These other animals that the zoos get. You walk around and you look at them, and it's cool to see these animals up close in person. But then at the same time, it's like, is this really, and I'm not trying to get all animal activist on you or anything here, because some people take it too far and don't think we should have any animals and stuff. And you get something like a dog or a cat, something that's domesticated. Maybe you take a wild bird and you tame it, and you keep it outside, let it hunt for its own food, but you get it used to interacting with you. That's okay. But taking a wild animal, putting it in a container that's too small for its size, or taking it completely out of its native environment to the point that it's just, I mean, a polar bear and this August heat here in East Tennessee and humidity, like, it's got to be miserable. Like, it's just got to be terrible on it. And I can't recall where I saw that damn thing at. We went somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was Gatlinburg. Pigeon Forge, one of them. I don't ever go up there. I go up there, usually, if I go, me and the girlfriend, we like that one restaurant up there called the Local Goat. And if you're ever in Pigeon Forge area, I highly recommend it. You'll wait forever to get in, but the food is amazing, and it's reasonably priced. Like, it's not it's like $20 for a meal for a person. So, I mean, it's not like a Applebee's $12.99 type thing, and you're going to pay $19.99 for whatever dish you get. But it's a lot of food. It's really good. You're probably, unless you're just some sloth, like you're probably going to have to take a box home and have another meal later, because it's a lot of food. And I'm a growing young boy, like I can pack away some food, but I get their pasta dish up there. It's amazing. And I take half of it home. Like that's my breakfast the next morning or my lunch or whatever, because it's just so much food. So, I mean, it's a good value. You just have to wait forever. But I highly recommend, if you're one of them touristy people, you go to Pigeon Forge, you're going to Dollywood or something, you're going up in Gatlinburg, up in the mountains, and go to the local goat. There's one down in, they have 2 restaurants. They're locally owned, but there's one there in Pigeon Forge, and there's one down in Ultralight. It's hard to say. That's what it's called, but it's right above Chattanooga, just north of Chattanooga. So there's a lot of distance between their 2 restaurants. Now, I've never ate at the one down in Ultralight. I see it from the interstate when I drive to Chattanooga. I've never eaten there, but it's the same owners. Apparently, they get all of their food items locally. Everything's locally sourced and fresh, and really, really good. Highly recommend it. Everything else up there in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge is a tourist trap. Overpriced, overrated. You'll see on the billboards and the sign, #1 ranked putt-putt place, #1 ranked restaurant. Who the hell's doing the rankings? That's what I want to know. Because you go into some of these places and I'm like, I've played a fair amount of putt-putt in my day from childhood on. Like, this allegedly number one ranked putt-putt course, really? This wouldn't be top 50 places I've played. Who's ranking this? I think they rank themselves. I mean, if I was ranking myself, I'd certainly, the old saying, don't screw yourself. If the teacher says grade your own paper, you give yourself an A+. Whether you deserve it or not, you don't screw yourself. Give yourself an A+. Same thing, if I had a restaurant, which you wouldn't want me cooking your food. I'm not a good cook. I can grill a steak. That's about it. But if I did have a restaurant, you better guarantee if I was ranking myself, I'd be #1. Sure as the world. You think we're going to hit this log right here? Is it possible we can keep the path we're on, miss the log, and not get it caught in our other line? This is how we have to entertain ourselves while we're not catching fish. So far, we have missed it with the kayak and the line. I can't fist pump a fish right now, but we'll fist pump that. Y'all got water drops on the lens. Y'all should have told me about that a long time ago. I cannot believe this, man. The bite. One of y'all's girlfriends or wives out there is into voodoo. Because we was catching fish, and then I told your wife she shouldn't be using that lip filler, and now we ain't catching. She's put some voodoo hex on me, and now we can't catch nothing. Like, we're not even getting tapped anymore right now. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's just refresh everything. Let me get me a gulp of water here first. I'm parched. I'm gonna get me a big gulp. We'll refresh our baits after that. Here I was worried we're gonna run out of bait today, especially if we had a trip like just numbers wise of what we've had on the other catfish trips recently. But clearly I was fooling myself because the bite has just fizzled out. We'll take our final fresh white bass head. We'll take a cut of the meat here for the other rod, and I'm going to get in there and try to get us another piece of that skipjack there. I need to do a better job adjusting our bait up and down. I've kind of let that suspended rod go today. We've been focusing on dragging, and really the perk of dragging, one of the perks of dragging, is you can put your baits out, and that's that. Like, you don't have to raise your bait up and down to keep it at the depth you want it, because it's there. Let's take another part of that skipjack there. Yeah, let's spruce everything up, see if we can help our cause. It can't hurt. We'll just keep going on the path we're on here, just keep making our way. Making our way in the world today. Takes everything we got. Just weird though, like we were getting bit there first thing pretty consistently there, and then it just petered out. We looped back around. Y'all talked me into that. You shouldn't have done it. We should have just kept going. Think about how much more water we would have covered today. How far? This one ain't got no bait on it. Well, that's why we ain't catching nothing on it. It's the hook's bare. We've been fishing on credit on that one. That makes sense. I wonder if well, surely that head didn't get ripped off on the other one. Surely not. And if it has, I'm gonna feel stupid. Just a light toss over there to the side. Get it letting line out on that. Let's reel in this one. Boy, I swear, if this one ain't got a bait on it, I'm gonna feel really dumb. I'm gonna feel as dumb as some of these women look that's got the lip filler. Oh my gosh, y'all, look at that. It's gone too. How did that happen? Seriously, how did that happen? That makes no damn sense. It's one thing for them to rip a chunk off, but a head? Hellfire, well, that explains a lot. You know, y'all ain't worth a damn. You know it. You've been pulling baits around here for who knows how long, and that they ain't had no baits on the hook. I swear, y'all. Have we got anything on our suspended rod? Does it at least have a bait on it? If this one's bare too, Lord almighty, y'all. This one's at least got a bait on it. I'm gonna toss it out. This piece has had it by now. Let's flip our bell over on that one. Yeah, I got a feeling maybe the bite didn't really taper off. Maybe it's the fact we ain't had no damn bait on the hooks. That'll certainly keep you from catching fish. That'll certainly do it, folks. We'll get this one set, and then I'll flip the bell over on our other dragon rod. Golly bum, y'all. Well, I got a feeling we're going to have a lot better odds of catching something now than what we did just a couple minutes ago. Unreal that y'all let that happen. What was I talking about so intently that I didn't notice fish hitting our rods and ripping our baits off? Like, I didn't really see fish. I didn't see them, like, not on our head bait. They'd hit the chunk there a while ago, but I mean, it's white bass, it's a tough bait. It doesn't get ripped off very easily. But the head bait, I mean, those are tough to rip off. Apparently not today. I didn't even see that rod get hit though. That's what's weird about it. Oh well. We'll see here in a little while. We'll see if we'll see if we get bit now. They better come on though. I'll tell you, it's getting hot, man. I thought today might be 4 or 5 hour trip, but which I guess we are. I guess we are about 4 hours. I like this though. I mean, it's some people, I think maybe they look down on me, you know, when they talk to me and stuff, because my fishing trips they're always like, you go fishing, it's only for 3 or 4 hours? Because they go all day. Like, they'll be on the water 12 hours. And they just can't believe that I'd only fish for 3 or 4 hours and then call it a day. As we're hung up in something already. Well, I hope we don't lose our head bait here. Let's see if we can come out of this. Give it some slack. Oh, crap. Crap, y'all. I don't know if we're getting this one out without having to go back. Nope. Well, we was due for a snag, I suppose. I'm gonna go back for it though, because that's our last fresh white bass head. We'll go back and get behind it, see if we can pull it out. Dadgummit. The good thing about what we're doing here, and this is another opportunity for me to talk some trash about the planer boarders. Look at all them weeds. Well, there's weeds down there. If we were planer boarding and had a bunch of rods out, there is no way that we could go back in this situation and get this bait. No way, because it'd be too time consuming. You'd have to reel everything in, get your other rig, then put all your boards back out. Like, it just wouldn't be realistic. You have to break off. And a day like today, where bait is kind of at a premium here, I don't want to break off. I don't want to lose that last fresh white bass head that we have. So I want to go back and get it. And since we're only running 2 rods, we can do this and do it in a fairly timely manner. Hopefully we'll get this rig back. Usually you do. Just depends on what's snagged. Is it the sinker or the hook? If the hook's snagged in something, you're just doo-doo out of luck. But as long as it's just the most of the time these sinkers I use come right out of stuff. That's why I use them. That's why I like them. Yeah, we're free. Most of the time they come through stuff really well. They come out of it. You say you don't waste as much time having to break off and retie. That'll kill your day of dragging if you're constantly having to break off and retie. Okay, let's get us back over here and get everything reset again. Get us going the right direction. We'll set our heading there on the motor. And then we will do our cruise control and put that on a 1/2 mile an hour. Okay. Down it goes. Well, let's get the weeds off of this one, as I pull my whole rod holder out. There we go. Let's get that one going down. All right, we got them going back out. Kayak will slow down to a minute. You put your cruise control, it automatically sets you at 1 mile an hour. Then your up and down buttons move it in 0.1 increments. So you hit it 5 times down, puts you at 0.5. We'll see if we can't set our suspended bait out here. Let's go ahead and get it down too, and then I think we'll have everything reset. go. We'll reel that up just a little bit higher, just so we don't have to fool with it going up here, because we are going to get shallower here in a minute. And flip that one over, and let's go ahead and get that one too. All right, we back in the game just like that. Crisis averted. But I was saying, you know, I think sometimes people kind of look down on me, like they want to, like, you only fish for 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, I go 10, 12 hours and I go fishing. Well, good for you. You know, I ain't telling people what to do, but me, you take a day like today, miserable, getting more miserable by the second out here. I want to come out early, catch my fish, have my fun, and then I don't want to be out here roasting on the water all day. You know, and honestly, and some of y'all that do this may know, like there are time periods where the bite is better. Like this morning, obviously around sunrise, we had a little bite going on. We probably missed part of it by getting out here when we did, but we had some active fish first thing. And usually as the morning goes on, that will kind of taper off. Middle of the day, you know, you might get on a bite. The fish could be feeding any hour of the day. You never really know when they're going to turn on to feed, but most of the time you'll have a feeding window in the morning. It'll die down mid to late morning. Middle of the day is tough. Then around sunset, it'll pick back up. You'll get some more activity at night. There was a catfish right there. I was looking right there. Did you see it come up? You may want to rewind on that. That camera may have got him. That was a catfish. Sure as the world. I saw him. It was a blue cat. I was looking that way when he come up. Right there on the surface. Yep. But anyway, you get, I was trying to say, you get, you know, late morning, middle of the day. Sure, you can be logging hours on the water, but it ain't necessarily productive hours. I would rather fish less amount of time, but put that time in when I have the greatest chance, at least, and what I feel is my greatest chance, of getting both numbers and size of fish. And, you know, honestly, when I look at the fish, both size and numbers I catch now, and compare that to what I did when I was younger and was going out for 10, 12 hours at a time, I catch more fish now and catch bigger fish now more frequently. Now, part of that is just because, I mean, I hope I've gotten better at fishing in the last several years, you know. I hope there's year over year improvement every year. That's the goal anyway. So back when I was fishing those longer days, I was probably not as good, not as smart as I am now. That certainly plays a role in it. But I just don't feel that time on the water is important, but there's a caveat to that. There's an asterisk next to it. It needs to be productive time on the water. If you and I both go fish for 12 hours, and you do your entire 12 hours in one session, and I go out for 4 hours a day for 3 days, I'm gonna bet on myself. Why the hell, they've got the whole left side of the damn channel here, and they're gonna cut across right in front of me and go this way. You idiots. It's Tits McGee here on this ski boat. It's them three, oh, here's a fish too. I'm distracted. I'm over here looking at Tits, trying to see if she's got lip filler or not, and this rod's going down. This is on that chunk. Amazing, y'all. We have, oh, did he just come off? He come off. He just come off. I was going to say amazing. We actually have bait on the hook and we get bit. But he just let go. I felt him let go. I reeled that in too fast when he let go too. Now we got it all twisted up. he was slime plumb up the line too. Goodness gracious, he had a lot of slime. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. I gotta check our back line here too. I think we're dragging bottom here with it. I think we need to reset it. Yep, we're up to 53 feet here now, so we need to raise that up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if you and I are both fishing 12 hours, and you do all 12 hours in one day, and I get to space mine out, either do 4 hours a day for 3 days or 3 hours a day for 4 days. If you and I are in a little tournament against each other, I'm gonna bet on myself. And I don't even care if you're a significantly better fisherman than I am. If you let me choose my windows of time over multiple days, there's going to be a day you're going to win some. Like, you're going to be on the water on that day where the bite's just on, right place, right time. Maybe it lasts longer on a particular day. But if we have that kind of tournament, if you and I were competing, and throw out the skill level even. Let's say I could clone myself or you could clone yourself. Equal skill level. And you put yourself one 12-hour day against your clone who could space out the same amount of time over multiple days and structure it, plan that time around peak feeding windows. Whichever version of you is fishing around those less hours around the peak feeding times, I'm betting on that person to win. I want to bet on this fish here to get hooked up, but I don't think he's gonna. Because again, it's not just time on the water, it's productive time on the water. Now he's got, nope. Nope. He hit it pretty hard that second time. But anyway, I think I do pretty damn good overall doing things how I do things. Now, the last time I fished a long day was probably the last tournament we fished. And those tournaments are 8 hours long. And I have protested the length of the tournaments. I'm like, why the hell do you need a tournament that's 8 hours? Why can't we just fish 5 hours or 6 hours? But I mean, most of these guys, you're traveling somewhere, you want to fish as much as you can, that's their mindset, and so they want long hour tournaments. I don't like it, but that's how it is. But I would rather fish more days and do a 3, 4, 5 hour trip around early morning hours here in the summertime. When we get into the colder months, I'll switch and fish more toward the evening hours, not because it's necessarily better, but just because it's warmer. In the afternoons, I don't want to be out on the water when it's 20 degrees on a winter morning. I'll let it heat up to 40, 50 degrees in the afternoon and then go out and fish till dark. So, that's just personal preference, but, part of it's, I guess, me getting older. I can't sit in a kayak for 12 straight hours anymore, not comfortably anyway. But part of it, too, is just realizing over time that there are certain time periods where you get more fish. And, I'm all about those percentages. Like, if I can get more fish, if the odds of me catching more and bigger fish happens at dawn or dusk, well, that's when I want to fish. Is that going to cost me some fish over the course of the year? Sure, because one day the bite might be middle of the afternoon. Sure. But I'll take my chances. It's like about here on this ledge this morning. We have kind of taken, and the way the contours kind of come through here, there's not really it was kind of that way when I was fishing that other area there in recent videos. the way the contours fall, it's like you don't have a good solid break line. Like we got a fish right here. This one, hopefully will stay buttoned up. But this area through here, yeah, there's a hole down here, kind of a depression, but you don't really have sharp break lines on this ledges. So we're kind of just working up the middle, and this one come free too. I'm not going to reel this one all the way in. I'm just going to let out a little bit more line. It's that white bass chunk, so I'm going to take a gamble here that it's still on, didn't get ripped off. I wonder if they wouldn't clamp down on that bait and just let it go, didn't have the hook. But anyway, we're not really working break lines up through here like I would traditionally do on a more defined river ledge. But undoubtedly, if we'd been up on the flats today, there's probably some fish up there. I would assume more smaller fish than bigger fish, but there could have been some up there. There could have been some, you know, there's a little bit of a break line. You take like right here, right there's a break line right there, and then it tapers off over here to where we're at, kind of middle of the channel. Like if we worked that edge right there, we could have got some fish. But it was a percentage play. It was a numbers game. I tried to put us today where I thought we would have the best chance at a big fish. And is that the only place to catch a big fish? No. But that's what I do when I hit the water. I try to hit the high percentage areas at the high percentage times. And if you do that frequently enough, you're gonna get bit. You're gonna catch fish, you're gonna catch big fish. And so that's kind of my thought process, my rationale on it. It's a numbers game. It's like a salesman. You know, I hate salesmen, but for them, it's all about numbers. It's how many phone calls can you make? And they know if they call 200 people, 5 of them are going to pick up, and of those 5, 1 of them are going to make a purchase. So it becomes numbers, like how many phone calls can I make? That's their mindset. It's not even about trying to get the sales, because they know for every 200 calls they make, they're going to get X number of whatever sales. So it just becomes about volume. And it's the same thing with me. It's not necessarily volume of time. It's the volume of days that I can put on the water around those productive times that over the course of the season, over the course of the year, is going to allow me to catch however many big fish and however many numbers of fish. It just all works out in the end. I have slumps. Hell, I've been in a slump here recently before this post-spawn bite started. This fish is in a slump. He's hit this bait 2 or 3 times and can't get it. He tried it again. So, I mean, you're going to have slumps, but you're also going to have stretches where you'll have 5 or 6 trips in a row and you just kill it. So at the end of the year, when you tally everything up and you look back at it, you're like, hell, I had a productive year. You just have to look at things longer term, not just in the moment. And that's true of anything in life, right? Like if you're working out or you're exercising, you're not necessarily going to notice progress in your body or whatever day to day. But if you work out consistently for multiple months, when you look back at the end of that few month period, a year, whatever, you look back from where you were, where you started to where you are, especially if you took pictures, you're going to be able to see it. It's no different with fishing or anything else in life. It's just being consistent with what you're doing. That's most important with anything. Consistency matters so much. Too many people do something one time and expect, it's like they pick up a baseball bat one time and they think they're going to be Pete Rose. You know, it's like it don't work like that. I still got to watch that Pete Rose documentary, by the way. It's a 4-part series on HBO. I've watched the preview for it, but I haven't got to sit down and watch it yet. I gotta do that. I like some Pete Rose. I think he ought to be in the Hall of Fame. Look, I ain't condoning what he done. Although in the culture we have here in 2024, people are gambling now. I know he shouldn't have bet on baseball, while he was a part of the game. He for damn sure shouldn't have been betting for or against his team. But aside from that, his play on the field, you cannot deny his play on the field warrants him being in the Hall of Fame. Maybe you put an asterisk next to his statue. Maybe there's a big disclaimer there at the Hall of Fame saying banned for life from the game. But hard for me to take the Baseball Hall of Fame seriously without Pete Rose. Really hard. And I could make the same case for Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Roger Clemens and all them guys of the steroid era. Like, put an asterisk next to them. But when 1998, when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa was in the home run race, regardless of the fact that they were juiced, we were all glued to our TV set. When SportsCenter would cut in for a live at bat of Mark McGwire, we all stopped what we were doing to watch. It was a big time in baseball. In fact, that was probably the last time I watched baseball with any consistency, truth be told. Because it's just unwatchable today. But again, those guys, yes, they were on the juice. Put an asterisk next to them. But how do you not have them when they were such a big part of the game during that time period? How do you not have them in the Hall of Fame and take your Hall of Fame serious? Because, I mean, there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame. I guarantee you probably did some stuff that, had it been known, had it been found out, would have probably made them ineligible. You know, I mean, ain't nobody perfect. So, I don't know. But I am going to watch that documentary series about Pete Rose. I need to get it done before football season starts. I'd been watching Cobra Kai. Me and the girlfriend, we've been watching it there on the Netflix. Probably one of the best shows in recent years for sure, but maybe ever. I mean, it hits the perfect amount of nostalgia. It's got a great storyline. The shows are short enough, like you can sit there and binge watch the whole thing. I mean, it's just, we have to pace ourselves on purpose because we'll sit there and watch the whole thing. As that fish right there was tapping. But they've split this final season up into 2 parts, and I'm disappointed because it's just getting good, and then it's off until I think November. I think the second half is coming out. Highly recommend it though. If you ain't watched Cobra Kai, I mean, if you're my age, I don't know if the kids today would appreciate it as much, but if you grew up in the 80s, whether you was a kid or an adult, and you watched Karate Kid, you will appreciate Cobra Kai. It's amazing how well those people look too. Like the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio, you talk about a man who's aged well. Like he looks still like he could pass for a 20-something-year-old today. He's probably 50, 60. Same thing with Johnny Lawrence. Now Johnny Lawrence looks a little rough in the face, but again, he's aged very gracefully. So it's just, sorry ladies, I hate to break your hearts, but it's the truth. Men age better than women. And Karate Kid or Cobra Kai, hell, John Kreese, he was the leader of Cobra Kai. He's on this show. He's got to be in his 70s. He could probably pass for somebody in his 50s. He looks amazing for his age. He's aged exceptionally well. I hope I look that good when I'm in my 70s. I probably will. Because again, you know, like these women that they're super hot in their 20s, even if they drop off, they're going to look better in their 30s or 40s just because they started out so high. That's how I'm going to tell people about myself, you know. I started out at such a high, even as I come down. I may be overinflating myself a little bit. I'm like a woman with a boob job, got a overhyped sense of confidence about myself. You fellas, though, I'm telling you, if you don't take anything else away from today's video, Lord knows the fishing today, aside from them ones we got first thing, it's been a tough, I mean, it's been weird. It started out so well. Went off a cliff like some of these women. But if you don't take nothing else away from today's trip, from today's video, take this. Don't buy your lady a boob job unless you really want rid of her. Now, if you want her to divorce you, buy her some boobs and she'll go find her a new man. We're snagged here. But if you actually like your girlfriend or wife and she gets boobs, it's over. Like, she's gone. She's gonna be somebody else's girlfriend or wife. Oh. Okay, finally. Can we get this one to stay hooked up? Can we please? If this one, folks, if this one gets in here and we actually land this thing, I think I'm gonna just call it a day. It's hotter than blazes, and I'd like to go out on a high note after we've lost the fish that we've lost here recently, we lost those fish after we were dragging around bare hooks for God knows how long. I'd like to go out on a high note today. And I am about ready to go out because it is hot. I can feel my flesh burning, even with my buff on. I feel like my nose is getting burnt. Go home. Hopefully, maybe get there before FedEx does and be able to sign for that bike. If not, I guess they'll be loading that damn thing up and bringing it back tomorrow. And I may not be home then, because I got to find us some bait. Yep. Blue cat. He ain't nowhere near as big as the first 3 fish we got today. We never did get our true monster today, and I really thought we had a chance. When we were catching them, the males right now are just, most of the males you're going to get right now are going to be skinny this time of year, but your females, again, they drop their eggs and they're right back out. So it come unhooked awful easy. See you, fish. You're probably going to be the last one in the video. Congratulations. But, you know, your male fish oftentimes just going to be skinny this time of year, but your females are going to be normal size. So I really thought when we were catching them female fish, like, there's a chance we're going to hook it just into a monster down through here at some point. And who knows, maybe if we had kept going, if I hadn't have wasted that time circling back, we would have probably been another mile or so upriver by now. Maybe we run into that big fish during that stretch. Also, too, if we hadn't have pulled baits with rigs with no hooks on them for God knows how long, maybe we hook into that big fish too. Who knows? We might have could have at least caught more fish. But it wasn't a bad day. I mean, we got 3 quality fish. We got what, 5, 6, 7 fish total. So, I mean, we had a pretty good session out here for no longer we've been on the water. I feel like anyway. So I'm happy with it, but I'm hot. So I'm gonna head to the house. I think I'm gonna reel in these other lines, go to the house, get out tomorrow, and we'll try to find us some bait. It's tough. If I can find us some bait, we'll get back after the catfish, but I ain't got enough. I've got more bait left than I thought we were going to have today, but not enough to come out. I don't want to come out on another trip with this bait, especially not having any head baits. I at least want some head baits, especially right there around sunrise. Like, that's big fish bait. So I got to find us some bait, and then we'll get after the cats again. May work another carp trip in here again at some point soon. I'm wanting to tinker with that soybean meal mixture a little more, because we got on some good carp there that last carp trip. Took a while to get them going, but the quality was really good. So, right place, right time, or did it have something to do with that soybean meal and the lime jello? I don't know. We'll play that out over time, though. But anyway, getting the hell out of here, y'all. Thanks for coming with me today. I'm sorry if I've caused problems with you and your wife over her lip filler. I've done you fellas a favor, though. I've said what you can't say. You keep towing the company line, I'm gonna keep spouting the truth whether they like me or not. I guarantee you though, comment box is gonna be rough after this video, man. I'm on my 10% female audience may be down to 7 or 8% after today. So I've run some of them off. But anyway, y'all, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'll see you next time.